Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. That's right, you're seeing us twice this week because we decided to do two readings of Streetcar Named Desire because one just wasn't enough. We love a mental breakdown on screen. Anyway, tonight's reading is directed by the lovely Hayley Beirmeister. Over to my left, I had to check that. I you would think I would know this by now, where everybody is on the Zoom. It's like freaking Brady brunch. Brady bunch, not brunch. As you can see, it's been a long day. But anyway, Hayley.
Really good idea though, a Brady brunch.
Brady brunch. Can you imagine like a 20-year reunion after?
like a weird HBO special. This now is the Brady Bunch. See where they are now, yeah.
Well, nostalgia is a drug. Everyone loves it, so they probably will do it. But anyway, Hayley, this is Hayley's directorial debut with CTC. How do you feel?
I feel good. I'm in a different state than I'm normally in, and I've been camping, but I feel cute and good, and I'm here for it.
You're still in Colorado, right?
Yes. Now I'm in an Airbnb though, not a tent.
You're not in a tent. We're not channeling Blair Witch Project, which is always great. Thank you as always for watching all the readings with CTC. 2023 has been off to a great start. Tonight you have a great cast. You have a great team. Honestly, shout out to Hayley for doing this. This is not easy. And also this is the first time I think I've ever seen Streetcar directed by a woman. Also, I gotta say, it's usually so yay. We love that.
Beautiful. Once you told me that, I was like, hell yeah, let's do this.
Amazing. Yeah. I know, I love it. But anyway, join us next week when we read King Lear, directed by Henry Murray. And we will be taking a 10-minute intermission. And again, thank you for watching and enjoy Tennessee Williams, A Streetcar Named Desire.
A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams. Scene 1. A 2-story corner building in New Orleans named Elysian Fields. 2 women are taking the air on the steps of the building. Eunice, who occupies the upstairs flat, the woman, a neighbor for New Orleans, is a cosmopolitan where there is a relatively warm and easy intermingling of races in the old part of town. 2 men come around the corner, Stanley Kowalski and Mitch. They are about 28 or 30 years old, roughly dressed in blue denim work clothes. Stanley carries his bowling jacket and a red-stained package from a butcher's. They stop at the foot of the steps.
Hey there, Stella, baby!
Stella comes out on the first floor landing, a gentle young woman about 25 and of a background obviously quite different from her husband's.
Don't holler at me like that. Hi, Mitch.
Catch!
What?
Me!
He heaves the package at her. She cries out in protest, but manages to catch it. Then she laughs breathlessly. Her husband and his companion have already started back around the corner.
Stanley, where are you going?
Bowling!
Can I come watch?
Come on.
Be over soon. Oh, hello, Eunice. How are you?
I'm all right. Tell Steve to get him a poor boy sandwich, because nothing's left here.
They all laugh. Stella goes out.
What was that package she threw at her?
You hush now.
Catch what?
Blanche comes around the corner, carrying a valise. She looks at a slip of paper, then at the building, then again at the slip, and again at the building. Her appearance is incongruous to this setting. She is daintily dressed in a white suit with a fluffy bodice necklace and earrings of pearl, white gloves and hat, looking as if she were arriving at a summer tea or cocktail party in the Garden District. There is something about her uncertain manner, as well as her white clothes, that suggest a moth.
What's the matter, honey? Are you lost?
They told me to take a streetcar named Desire and then transfer to one called Cemeteries and ride 6 blocks and get off at Elysian Fields.
That's where you are now.
At Elysian Fields?
This here is Elysian Fields.
They mustn't have understood what number I wanted.
What number are you looking for?
632.
You don't have to look no further.
I'm looking for my sister, Stella DuBois. I mean, Mrs. Stanley Kowalski.
That's the party. You just did miss her, though.
Can this be her home?
She's got the downstairs here, and I got the up.
Oh, she's out?
You noticed that bowling alley round the corner?
I'm not sure I did.
Well, that's where she's at, watching her husband bowl. You want to leave your suitcase here and go find her?
No.
I'll go tell her you come.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
She wasn't expecting you?
No, not tonight.
Well, why don't you just go in and make yourself at home till they get back?
How could I do that?
We own this place, so I can let you in.
She gets up and opens the downstairs door. A light goes on behind the blind, turning it light blue. Blanche slowly follows her into the downstairs flat. The surrounding areas dim out as the interior is lighted. 2 rooms can be seen, not too clearly defined. The one first entered is primarily a kitchen, but contains a folding bed to be used by Blanche. The room beyond this is a bedroom. Off this room is a narrow door to a bathroom.
It's sort of messed up right now, but when it's clean, it's real sweet.
Is it?
Uh-huh, I think so. You're Stella's sister.
Yes. Thanks for letting me in.
Por nada, as the Mexicans say. Por nada. Stella spoke of you.
Yes.
I think she said you taught school?
Yes.
And you're from Mississippi, huh?
Yes.
She showed me a picture of your home place, the plantation.
Belle Reve.
A great big place with white columns.
Yes.
A place like that must be awful hard to keep up.
If you'll excuse me, I am just about to drop.
Sure, honey. Why don't you sit down?
What I meant was I'd like to be left alone.
Oh, I'll make myself scarce in that case.
I didn't mean to be rude, but
I'll drop by the bowling alley and hustle her up.
Blanche sits in a chair very stiffly, with her shoulders slightly hunched and her legs pressed close together, and her hands tightly clutching her purse as if she were quite cold. After a while, the blind look goes out of her eyes, and she begins to look slowly around. A cat screeches. She catches her breath with a startled gesture.
got to keep hold of myself.
Stella comes quickly around the corner of the building and runs to the door of the downstairs flat.
Blanche?
Stella! Oh, Stella! Stella for star!
They catch each other in a spasmodic embrace.
Now then, let me look at you, but don't you look at me, Stella. No, not till later, not till I've bathed and rested and turn off that overlight, turn that off. I won't be looked at in this merciless glare. Come back here now. Oh, my baby, Stella for star. I thought you would never come back to this horrible place. What am I saying? I didn't mean to say that. I meant to be nice about it and say, oh, what a convenient location and such precious lamb. You haven't said a word to me.
You haven't given me a chance to, honey.
Well, now you talk. Open your pretty mouth and talk while I look around for some liquor. I know you must have some liquor in this place. Or where could it be? I wonder. Oh, I spy.
She rushes to the closet and removes the bottle. She is shaking all over and panting for breath as she tries to laugh. The bottle nearly slips from her grasp.
Blanche, You sit down and let me pour the drinks. I don't know what we've got to mix with. Maybe a Coke's in the icebox. Let me see, honey, while I'm...
No, honey, no Coke, not with my nerves tonight. Where is...
Stanley? Bowling, he loves it. They're having a... Oh, found some soda. Tournament.
Just water, baby, to chase it. Now, don't get worried. Your sister hasn't turned into a drunkard. She's just all shaken up and hot and tired and dirty. You sit down now and explain this place to me. What are you doing in a place like this?
Now, Blanche.
Oh, I'm not going to be hypocritical. I'm going to be honestly critical about it. Never in my worst dreams could I picture only Poe. Only Mr. Edgar Allan Poe could do it justice. Out there, I suppose, is the ghoul-haunted woodland weir.
No, honey, those are the L&N tracks.
No, now seriously, putting jokes aside, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you write me, honey? Why didn't you let me know?
Tell you what, Blanche?
Why, that you have to live in these conditions.
Aren't you being a little intense about it? It's not that bad at all. New Orleans isn't like other cities.
This has got nothing to do with New Orleans. You might as well say, forgive me, blessed baby. The subject is closed.
Thanks.
You're all I've got in the world, and you're not glad to see me.
Why, Blanche, you know that's not true.
No? I've forgotten how quiet you are.
You never did give me a chance to say much, so I just got in the habit of being quiet around you.
Oh, good habit to get into. You haven't asked me how I happened to get away from the school before the spring term ended.
Well, I thought you'd volunteer that information if you wanted to tell me.
You thought I'd been fired?
No, I thought you might have resigned.
I was so exhausted by all that I'd been through. My nerves broke. I was on the verge of lunacy almost. So Mr. Graves is the high school superintendent. He suggested I take a leave of absence. I couldn't put all those details into the wire. This buzzes right through me and feels so good.
Won't you have another?
No, one's my limit.
You sure?
You haven't heard about my appearance.
You look just fine.
God love you for a liar. Daylight never exposed so total a ruin. But you put on some weight. Yes, you're just as plump as a little partridge. And it's so becoming to you.
Now, Blanche.
Yes, it is, or I wouldn't say it. You just have to watch around the hips a little and stand up.
Not now.
You hear me? I said stand up. You messy child, you. You spilled something on the pretty white lace collar. About your hair. You ought to have it cut in a feather bob with your dainty features. Stella, you have a maid, don't you?
No, with only 2 rooms, it's...
What? 2 rooms, did you say?
This one and...
The other one. I'm going to take just one tiny little nip more, sort of to put the stopper on, so to speak, then put the bottle away so I won't be tempted. I want you to look at my figure. You know, I haven't put on 1 ounce in 10 years, Stella. I weigh what I weighed the summer you left Belle Reve, the summer Dad died and you left us.
It's just incredible, Blanche. How well you're looking.
But Stella, there's only 2 rooms. I don't see where you're going to put me.
We're going to put you in here.
What kind of bed's this? One of those collapsible things?
Does it feel all right?
Wonderful, honey. I don't like a bed that gives much. But there's no door between these 2 rooms. And Stanley, will he be decent?
Stanley is Polish, you know.
Oh, yes. They're something like Irish, aren't they?
Well,
Only not so highbrow. I brought some nice clothes to meet all your lovely friends in.
I'm afraid you won't think they are lovely.
What are they like?
They're Stanley's friends.
Polacks?
They're a mixed lot, Blanche.
Heterogeneous types?
Oh, yes. Types is right.
Well, anyhow, I brought nice clothes and I'll wear them. I guess you're hoping I'll say I'll put up at a hotel, but I am not going to put up at a hotel. I want to be near you. Got to be with somebody. I can't be alone because, as you must have noticed, I'm not very well.
You seem a little nervous or overwrought or something.
Will Stanley like me? Or will I just be a visiting in-law, Stella? I couldn't stand that.
You'll get along fine together if you'll just try not to, well, compare him with men that we went out with at home.
Is he so different?
Yes, a different species.
In what way? What's he like?
Oh, you can't describe someone you're in love with. Here's a picture of him.
An officer?
A master sergeant in the engineer corps. Those are decorations.
He had those on when you met him?
I assure you, I wasn't just blinded by all the brass.
That's not what I...
But of course, there were things to adjust myself to later on.
Such as his civilian background. How did he take it when you said I was coming?
Oh, Stanley doesn't know yet.
You haven't told him?
He's on the road a good deal.
Oh, travel?
Yes.
Good. I mean, isn't it?
I can hardly stand it when he's away for a night.
Why, Stella.
When he's away for a week, I go nearly wild.
Gracious.
And when he comes back, I cry on his lap like a baby.
I guess that is what is meant by being in love. Stella.
What?
I haven't asked you the things you probably thought I was going to ask, and so I'll expect you to be understanding about what I have to tell you.
What, Blanche?
Well, Stella, you're going to reproach me. I know that you're bound to reproach me, but before you do, take into consideration you left. I stayed and struggled. You came to New Orleans and looked out for yourself. I stayed at Belle-Rive and tried to hold it together. I'm not meaning this in any reproachful way, but all the burden descended on my shoulders.
The best I could do was make my own living, Blanche.
I know, but you are the one who abandoned Belle-Rive, not I. I stayed and fought for it, bled for it, died for it.
Stop this hysterical outburst and tell me what's happened. What do you mean fought and bled? What kind of...
I know you would, Stella. I knew you would take this attitude about it.
About what? Please.
The loss. The loss.
Belle-Rive? Lost, is it? No.
Yes, Stella.
They stare at each other across the yellow checked linoleum of the table. Blanche slowly nods her head and Stella looks slowly down at her hands folded on the table. The music of the blue piano grows louder. Blanche touches her handkerchief to her forehead.
But how did it go? What happened?
You're a fine one to ask me how it went.
Blanche!
You're a fine one to sit there accusing me of it.
Blanche!
I took the blows in my face and my body, all of those deaths. The long parade to the graveyard. Father, Mother, Margaret, that dreadful way. So big with it. It couldn't be put in a coffin, but had to be burned like rubbish. You just came home in time for the funeral, Stella. And funerals are pretty compared to deaths. Funerals are quiet, but deaths, not always. Sometimes their breathing is hoarse, and sometimes it rattles, and sometimes they even cry out to you, "Don't let me go." Even the old sometimes say, "Don't let me go," as if you were able to stop them. But funerals are quiet, with pretty flowers. And oh, what gorgeous boxes they pack them away in. Unless you were there at the bed when they cried out, "Hold me," you'd never suspect there was the struggle for breath and bleeding. You didn't dream, but I saw. And now you sit there telling me with your eyes that I let the place go. How in hell do you think all that sickness and dying was paid for? Death is expensive, Miss Stella, and old cousin Jessie's right after Margaret's, hers. Why, the Grim Reaper had put up his tent in our doorstep. Stella, Bellerive was his headquarters. Honey, that's how it slipped through my fingers. Which of them left us a fortune? Which of them left a cent of insurance even? Only poor Jessie, 100 to pay for her coffin. That was all, Stella. And I, with my pitiful salary at the school, yes, accuse me. Sit there and stare at me, thinking I let the place go. I let the place go? Where were you? In bed with your Pollock.
You be still, that's enough.
Where are you going?
I'm going into the bathroom to wash my face.
Oh, Stella. Stella, you're crying.
Does that surprise you?
Forgive me, I didn't mean.
The sound of men's voices is heard. Stella goes into the bathroom, closing the door behind her. When the men appear and Blanche realizes it must be Stanley returning, she moves uncertainly from the bathroom door to the dressing table, looking apprehensively toward the front door. Stanley enters, followed by Steve and Mitch. Stanley pauses near his door, Steve by the foot of the spiral stair, and Mitch is slightly above and to the right of them, about to go out.
Is that how he got it?
Sure, that's how he got it. He hit the old Weatherbird for $300 on a 6-number ticket.
Huh.
Oh, don't tell him that. Don't tell him those things. He'll believe it.
Hey, Mitch, come back here.
Blanche, at the sound of voices, retires in the bedroom. She picks up Stanley's photo from the dressing table, looks at it, puts it down. When Stanley enters the apartment, she darts and hides behind the screen at the head of the bed.
Hey, are we playing poker tomorrow?
Sure, at Mitch's.
No, not my place. My mother's still sick.
Okay, at my place. But you bring the beer.
Mitch pretends not to hear, calls out, "Good night, all," and goes out singing. Eunice's voice is heard above. Break it up down there. I made the spaghetti dish and ate it myself.
I told you and phoned you we was playing. Jack's beer.
You never phoned me once.
I told you at breakfast and phoned you at lunch.
Well, never mind about that. You just get yourself home here once in a while.
You want it in the papers?
More laughter and
Yeah,
shouts of partying
papers.
come from the men. Stanley throws the screen door of the kitchen open and comes in. Animal joy in his being is implicit in all his movements and attitudes. He sizes women up at a glance with sexual classifications, crude images flashing into his mind and determining the way he smiles at them.
You must be Stanley. I'm Blanche.
Ah, Stella's sister.
Yes,
Hello? Where's the little woman?
in the bathroom.
Oh. Didn't know you were coming into town. Where are you from, Blanche?
Why, I live in Laurel.
Oh, in Laurel, huh? Yeah, Laurel, that's right. Yeah, it's not my territory. Oh, liquor goes fast in hot weather. Have a shot?
No, I rarely touch it.
Yeah, some people rarely touch it, but it touches them often. Hey, my clothes are sticking to me. You mind if I make myself comfortable?
Please do.
Being comfortable is my motto.
It's mine too. It's hard to stay looking fresh. I haven't washed or powdered my face, and here you are.
You know, you can catch colds sitting around in damp things, especially when you've been exercising hard like bowling is. Oh, yeah, you're a teacher, aren't you?
Yes,
Yeah, well, you teach, Blanche.
English.
Ah, I was never a really good English student. Hey, how long are you here for, Blanche?
I don't know yet.
Ah, you're gonna shack up here.
I thought I would if it's not inconvenient for you all.
Good.
Traveling wears me out.
Well, take it easy.
What's that?
Cats. Hey, Stella!
Yeah, Stanley?
You haven't fallen in, have you?
He grins at Blanche. She tries unsuccessfully to smile back. There is a silence.
I'm afraid I strike you as being the unrefined type. Stella spoke of you a great deal. You were married once, weren't you?
Yes, when I was quite young.
What happened?
The boy died. I'm afraid I'm going to be sick.
Scene 2. It is 6 o'clock the following evening. Blanche is bathing. Stella is completing her toilet. Blanche's dress, a flowered print, is laid out on Stella's bed. Stanley enters the kitchen from outside.
What's all this monkey doings?
Oh, Stan. I'm taking Blanche to Galatoire's for supper and then to a show because it's your poker night.
Oh, how about my supper, huh? I ain't going to no Galatories for supper.
I put you a cold plate on ice.
Oh, well, isn't that just dandy?
I'm going to try to keep Blanche out till the party breaks up because I don't know how she would take it. So we'll go to one of the little places in the quarter afterwards, and you'd better give me some money.
Where is she?
She's soaking in a hot tub to quiet her nose. She's terribly upset.
Over what?
She's been through such an ordeal.
Yeah?
Stan, we've lost Belle Reeve.
The place in the country.
Yes.
How?
Oh, it had to be sacrificed or something. When she comes in, be sure to say something nice about her appearance. Oh, don't mention the baby. I haven't said anything yet. I'm waiting until she gets in a quieter condition.
So?
And try to understand her and be nice to her, Stan.
From the land of the sky blue water, they brought a captive maid.
She wasn't expecting to find us in such a small place. You see, I tried to gloss things over a little in my letters.
So?
And admire her dress and tell her she's looking wonderful. That's important with Blanche, her little weakness.
Yeah, I get the idea. Now let's skip back a little to where you said the country place was disposed of.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, how about that? Let's have a few more details on that subject.
It's best not to talk about it until she's calmed down.
Oh, so that's the deal, huh, Sister Blanche? Cannot be annoyed with business deals right now.
You saw how she was last night.
Uh-huh, I saw how she was. Now let's have a gander at the bill of sale here.
I haven't seen any.
Hmm? She didn't show you no papers, no deed of sale or anything like that, huh?
It seems like it wasn't sold.
Well, what in hell was it then? Giveaway? To charity?
Shh, she'll hear you.
I don't care if she hears me. Let's see the papers.
There weren't any papers. She didn't show any papers. I don't care about papers.
Have you ever heard of the Napoleonic Code?
No, Stanley, I haven't heard of the Napoleonic Code. If I have, I don't see what it...
Well, let me enlighten you on a point or two, baby, okay?
Yes.
In the state of Louisiana, we have the Napoleonic Code, according to which what belongs to the wife belongs to the husband and vice versa. For instance, if I had a piece of property or if you had a piece of property...
My head is swimming.
All right. I'll wait until she gets through soaking in a hot tub and I'll inquire if she is acquainted with the Napoleonic Code. Oh, God, it seems to me like you've been swindled, baby. And when you're swindled under the Napoleonic Code, I'm swindled too. And I don't like to be swindled.
There's plenty of time to ask her questions later. But if you do now, she'll go to pieces again. I don't understand what happened to Belle Reeve, but you don't know how ridiculous you are being when you suggest that my sister or I or anyone of our family could have perpetrated a swindle on anyone else.
Then where's the money if the place was sold, huh?
Not sold. Lost. Lost.
He stalks into the bedroom and she follows him.
Stanley.
Open your eyes.
He pulls open the wardrobe trunk standing in the middle of the room and jerks out an armful of dresses.
Now open your eyes to this stuff, huh? You think she got this out of a teacher's pay?
Hush.
These feathers and furs that she came to preen herself in. Oh, what's this here, huh? Ooh, a solid gold dress, I believe. Oh, and this one, oh, what's this? Oh, fox pieces. Ooh, genuine fox pieces, a half a mile long. Where are your fox pieces, Stella? Well, God, bushy, snow-white ones, no less, huh? Where are your fox pieces? Where are yours?
Those are inexpensive summer furs that Blanche has had for a long time.
Yeah, I got an acquaintance that deals in this sort of merchandise. I'll have him here to appraise it. You know, I'm willing to bet you there's thousands of dollars invested in this stuff here.
Don't be such an idiot, Stanley.
He hurls the furs to the daybed. Then he jerks open small drawer in the trunk and pulls up a fistful of costume jewelry.
What do we have here? The treasure chest of a pirate.
Oh, Stanley.
Pearls, ropes of a... It was his sister he was a deep-sea diver. Bracelets of solid gold, too. Where are your pearls and gold bracelets?
Shh. Be still, Stanley.
Oh, and diamonds. A crown for an empress.
A rhinestone tiara she wore to a costume ball.
What's rhinestone?
Next door to glass.
Oh, are you kidding? Now, I got an acquaintance that works in a jewelry store. I'll have him here to make an appraisal of all this. Here's our plantation, or what was left of it, here.
You have no idea how stupid and horrid you're being. Now close that trunk before she comes out of the bathroom.
He kicks the trunk partly closed and sits on the kitchen table.
The Kowalskis and the DuBois have different notions.
Indeed, they have. Thank heavens, I'm going outside. You come out with me while Blanche is getting dressed.
Since when do you give me orders?
Are you going to stay here and insult her?
You're damn tootin', I'm going to stay here.
Stella goes out to the porch. Blanche comes out of the bathroom in a red satin robe.
Hello, Stanley. Here I am, all freshly bathed and scented and feeling like a brand new human being.
That's good.
Excuse me while I slip on my pretty new dress.
Yeah, go right ahead, Blanche.
I understand there's to be a little card party to which we ladies are cordially not invited.
Yeah?
Blanche throws off her robe and slips into a flowered print dress.
Where's Stella?
Out on the porch.
I'm going to ask a favor of you in a moment.
And what could that be, I wonder?
Some buttons in the back. You may enter. How do I look?
You look all right.
Many thanks. Now the button.
I can't do nothing with them.
You man with your big clumsy fingers. May I have a drag on your cig?
Yeah, have one for yourself.
Why, thanks. It looks like my trunk has exploded.
Me and Stella were helping you unpack.
Well, you certainly did a fast and thorough job of it.
It looks like you raided some stylish shops in Paris.
Yes, clothes are my passion.
Yeah, what does it cost for a string of fur pieces like that?
Well, those were a tribute from an admirer of mine.
He must have had a lot of admiration.
Oh, in my youth, I excited some admiration. But look at me now. Would you think it was possible I was once considered attractive?
You look so okay.
I was fishing for a compliment, Stanley.
Yeah, well, I'll go in for that stuff.
What?
Compliments to women about their looks. I never met a woman that didn't know if she was good looking or not without being told. And some of them give themselves more credit for more than they got. I once went out with a doll and said to me, I am the glamorous type. I am the glamorous type. I said, so what?
And what did she say then?
She didn't say nothing. That shut her up like a clam.
Did it end the romance?
It ended the conversation, that was all. Yeah, some men are took in by this Hollywood glamour stuff and some men are not.
I'm sure you belong in the second category.
That's right.
I cannot imagine any witch of a woman casting her spell over you.
That's right.
You're simple, straightforward, and honest. A little bit on the primitive side, I should think. To interest you, a woman would have to
Lay her cards.
Well, I never cared for wishy-washy people. That was why when I walked in here last night, I said to myself, my sister has married a man. Of course, that was all that I could tell about you.
Oh, let's cut off the rebop!
Woo!
Stanley, you come out here and let Blanche finish dressing.
I'm through dressing, honey.
Well, you come out then.
Your sister and I are having a little talk.
Honey, do me a favor. Run to the drugstore and get me a lemon coke with plenty of chipped ice in it. Will you do that for me, sweetie?
Yes?
The poor little thing was out there listening to us, and I have an idea she doesn't understand you as well as I do. All right, now, Mr. Kowalski, let us proceed without any more double talk. I'm ready to answer all questions. I've nothing to hide. What is it?
There is a thing, such a thing in the state of Louisiana as the Napoleonic Code, according to which whatever belongs to my wife is also mine, and vice versa.
But you have an impressive judicial air.
She sprays herself with her atomizer, then playfully sprays him with it. He seizes the atomizer and slams it down on the dresser. She throws back her head and laughs.
If I didn't know that you were my wife's sister, I'd get ideas about you.
Such as what?
Don't play so dumb. You know what?
All right. Cards on the table. That suits me. I know I fib a good deal. After all, a woman's charm is 50% illusion. But when a thing is important, I tell the truth. And this is the truth. I haven't cheated my sister, or you, or anyone else as long as I have lived.
Where's the papers? In the trunk?
Everything I own is in that trunk.
Stanley crosses to the trunk, shoves it roughly open, and begins to open compartments.
What in the name of heaven are you thinking of? What's in the back of that little boy's mind of yours that I am absconding with something, attempting some kind of treachery on my sister? Let me do that. It will be simpler. I keep my papers mostly in this tin box.
What's them underneath?
Those are love letters, yellowing with antiquity, all from one boy. Give those back to me.
Hey, I'll have a look at them first.
The touch of your hands insults them.
And don't pull that stuff.
He rips off the ribbon and starts to examine them. Blanche snatches them from him, and they cascade to the floor.
Now that you've touched them, I'll burn them.
What in hell are they?
Poems a dead boy wrote. I hurt him the way that you would like to hurt me, but you can't. I'm not young and vulnerable anymore, but my young husband was, and I've... Never mind about that, just give them back to me.
What do you mean by saying you'll have to burn them?
I'm sorry, I must have lost my head for a moment. Everyone has something he won't let others touch because of their intimate nature.
She now seems faint with exhaustion, and she sits down with the strongbox and puts on a pair of glasses and goes methodically through a large stack of papers.
An ambler, Crabtree, or Ambler.
What is Ambler and Ambler?
A firm that made loans on the place.
Then it was lost on a mortgage.
That must have been what happened.
I don't want no ifs, ands, or buts. Where's all the rest of them papers?
She hands him the entire box. He carries it to the table and starts to examine the papers.
There are thousands of papers stretching back over hundreds of years, affecting Bellerive as piece by piece our improvident grandfathers and father and uncles and brothers exchanged the land for their epic fornications, to put it plainly. The four-letter word deprived us of our plantation, till finally all that was left, and Stella can verify that, the house itself and about 20 acres of ground, including a graveyard. Now all but Stella and I have retreated. Here all of them are, all papers. I hereby endow you with them. Take them, peruse them, commit them to memory even. It's wonderfully fitting that Bellerive should finally be this bunch of old papers in your big, capable hands. I wonder if Stella's come back.
I have a lawyer acquaintance who will study these out.
Present them to him with a box of aspirin tablets.
You see, Under the Napoleonic Code, a man has to take an interest in his wife's affairs, especially now that she's going to have a baby.
Stella? Stella's going to have a baby. I didn't know she was going to have a baby.
She gets up and crosses to the outside door. Stella appears around the corner with a carton from the drugstore. Stanley goes into the bedroom with the envelope and the box. Blanche meets Stella at the foot of the steps to the sidewalk.
Stella, Stella for Star, how lovely to have a baby. It's all right. Everything's all right.
Sorry he did that to you.
Oh, I guess he's just not the type that goes for jasmine perfume. But maybe he's what we need to mix with our blood now that we've lost Belrive. We thrashed it out. I feel a bit shaky, but I think I handled it nicely. I laughed and treated it all as a joke.
Steve and Pablo appear, carrying a case of beer.
I called him a little boy and laughed and flirted. Yes, I was flirting with your husband. The guests are gathering for the poker party.
The two men pass between them and enter the house.
Which way do we go now, Stella? This way?
No, this way.
The blind are leading the blind.
A tamale vendor is heard calling, "Red hot!" Scene 3, the poker night. There's a picture of Van Gogh's of a billiard parlor at night. The kitchen now suggests that sort of lurid nocturnal brilliance, the raw colors of childhood spectrum. Over the yellow linoleum of the kitchen table hangs an electric bulb with a vivid green glass shade. The poker players, Stanley, Steve, Mitch, and Pablo, wear colored shirts, solid blues, a purple, a red and white check, a light green, and they are men at the peak of their physical manhood, as coarse and direct and powerful as the primary colors. There are vivid slices of watermelon on the table, whiskey bottles, and glasses. The bedroom is relatively dim, with only the light that spills between the portieres and through the wide window on the street. For a moment, there is absorbed silence as a hand is dealt.
Anything wild with this deal?
One-eyed Jack so wild.
All right, give me 2 cards.
You, Mitch?
I'm out.
1.
Anyone want a shot?
Why don't somebody go to the Chinaman's and bring back a load of chop suey?
Stanley, you're muted.
Get your ass off the table, Mitch! Nothing belongs on this poker table but cards, chips, and whiskey.
On your high horse.
He lurches up
Archer.
and tosses some watermelon rinds to the floor.
How many?
Give me 3.
1.
I'm out again. I ought to go home pretty soon.
Shut up!
I got a sick mother. She don't go to sleep until I come in at night.
Then why don't you stay home with her?
She says to go out, so I go out. But I don't enjoy it. All the while, I keep wondering how she is.
Ah, for the sake of Jesus, go home then!
What you got?
Spade flush.
You all are married, but I'll be alone when she goes. I'm going to the bathroom.
Yeah, come back, hurry back, we'll fix you a sugar tip.
I'll go, Rut.
7 card stud. Now this old farmer is out back in his house, sitting down, throwing corn to the chickens. When all at once he hears a loud cackle. This young hen comes lickety-split around the side of the house, with the rooster right behind her. and gaining on her fast.
Deal.
But when the rooster catches sight of the farmer throwing the corn, he puts on the brakes and lets the hen get away, starts pecking the corn. The old farmer says, Lord God, I hopes I never gets that hungry.
The sisters appear around the corner of the building.
The game is still going on.
How do I look?
Lovely, Blanche.
I feel so hot and frazzled. Wait till I powder before you open the door. Do I look done in?
Why, no, you are as fresh as a daisy.
One that's been picked a few days.
Well, well, well. I see you boys are still at it.
Where you been?
Blanche and I took in a show. Blanche, this is Mr. Gonzalez and Mr. Hubel.
Please, don't get up.
Yeah, nobody's gonna get up, so don't get worried.
How much longer is this game going to continue?
Till we get ready to quit.
Poker is so fascinating. Could I kibitz?
You could not. Why don't you women go up and sit with Eunice?
Because it is nearly 2:30. Wouldn't you call it quits after one more hand?
A chair scrapes. Stanley gives a loud whack of his hand on her thigh.
That's not fun, Stanley. Makes me so mad when he does that in front of people.
I think I will bathe.
Again.
My nerves are in knots. Is the bathroom occupied?
I don't know.
Blanche knocks. Mitch opens the door and comes out, still wiping his hands on a towel.
Oh, good evening.
Hello.
Blanche, this is Harold Mitchell, my sister, Blanche DuBois.
How do you do, Miss DuBois?
How was your mother now, Mitch?
About the same, thanks. She appreciated you sending over the custard. Excuse me, please.
He crosses slowly back into the kitchen, glancing back at Blanche and coughing a little shyly. He realizes he still has the towel in his hands and, with an embarrassed laugh, hands it to Stella. Blanche looks after him with a certain interest.
That one seems superior to the others.
Yes, he is.
I thought he had sort of a sensitive look.
His mother is sick.
Is he married?
No.
Is he a wolf?
Well, Blanche. I don't think he would be.
What does he do?
She is unbuttoning her blouse.
He's on the precision bench in the spare parts department in the plant Stanley travels for.
Is that something much?
No. Stanley's the only one of his crowd likely to get anywhere.
What makes you think Stanley will?
Look at him.
I've looked at him.
And you should know.
I'm sorry, but I haven't noticed the stamp of genius, even on Stanley.
She takes off the blouse and stands in her pink silk brassiere and white skirt in the light through the portieres.
It isn't on his forehead, and it isn't genius.
Huh. Well, what is it and where? I would like to know.
It's a drive that he has. You're standing in the light, Blanche.
Oh, am I?
She moves out of the yellow streak of light. Stella has removed her dress and put on a light blue satin kimono.
You ought to see the wives.
I can imagine. Big beefy things, I suppose.
You know that one upstairs? One time. The plastic wrap.
Hey, you hens, cut out that conversation in there.
You can't hear us.
Well, you can hear me, and I said to hush up.
This is my house, and I'll talk as much as I want to.
Stella, don't start around.
He's half drunk. I'll be out in a minute.
She goes into the bathroom. Blanche rises and crosses leisurely to a small white radio and turns it on.
All right, Mitch, you in? You in? Yeah, you're out. All right.
Blanche moves back into the streak of light. She raises her arms and stretches as she moves indolently back to the chair. Roomba music comes over the radio. Mitch rises at the table.
Who turned that on in there?
I did. Do you mind?
Turn it off.
Let the girls have their music.
Sure, that's good. Leave it on.
Sounds like Xavier Cugat.
Stanley jumps up and crossing to the radio, turns it off. He stops short of the sight of Blanche in the chair. She returns his look without flinching. Then he sits again at the poker table.
I didn't hear you name it.
Didn't I name it Mitch?
I wasn't listening.
Well, what were you doing then?
He was looking through them drapes. Ugh. Now, deal the hand over again and let's play cards or quit. Some people get antsy when they win. Sit down, Mitch!
Going to the head. Deal me out.
Sure. He's got ants now. 7 $5 bills in his pants. In his pants pocket, folded up tight as spitballs.
Tomorrow you'll see him at the cashier's window getting the change into quarters.
Yeah, when he gets home, he'll deposit them one by one in the piggy bank his mother gave him for Christmas. This game's called Spit in the Ocean.
Mitch laughs uncomfortably and continues through the portieres. He stops just inside.
Hello. The little boy's room is busy right now.
We've been drinking beer.
I hate beer.
It's a hot weather drink.
Oh, I don't think so. It always makes me warmer. Have you got any cigs?
Sure.
What kind are they?
Lucky's.
Oh, good. Oh, what a pretty case. Silver?
Yes. Yes, it is. Read the inscription.
Oh, is there an inscription? I can't make it out. Oh, and if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death. Well, that's from my favorite sonnet by Mr. Brown.
You know it.
Certainly I do.
No, there's a story connected with that inscription.
It sounds like a romance.
Pretty sad one.
Oh?
The girl's dead now.
Oh.
She knew she was dying when she gave me this. Very strange girl. Very sweet. Very.
She must have been fond of you. Sick people have such deep, sincere attachments.
That's right. Certainly do.
Sorrow makes for sincerity, I think.
Sure brings out in people.
The little there is belongs to people who have experienced some sorrow.
You're right with that.
I'm positive that I am. Show me a person who hasn't known any sorrow, and I'll show you a superficial. Listen to me. My tongue is a little thick. You boys are responsible for it. The show let out at 11, and we couldn't come home on account of the poker game, so we had to go somewhere and drink. I'm not accustomed to having more than one drink. 2 is the limit, and 3. Tonight I had 3.
Mitch!
Oh, for Christ's sake. Deal me out. I'm talking to Miss
DuBois.
DuBois.
It's a French name. It means woods, and Blanche means white. So the 2 together mean white woods, like an orchard in spring. You can remember it by that.
We're French?
We're French by extraction. Our first American ancestors were French Huguenots.
We're Stella's sister, are you not?
Yes, Stella is my precious little sister. I call her little, in spite of the fact that she's somewhat older than I am, just slightly, less than a year. Will you do something for me?
Sure, what?
I bought this adorable little colored paper lantern at the Chinese shop on Bourbon. Put it over the light bulb, will you please?
Be glad to.
I can't stand a naked light bulb any more than I can a rude remark or a vulgar action.
I guess we strike you as being a pretty rough bunch.
I'm very adaptable to circumstances.
Well, that's a good thing to be. You're visiting Stanley and Stella?
Stella hasn't been so well lately, and I came down to help her for a while. She's very run down.
You're not?
Married? Oh, no. I'm an old maid school teacher.
You may teach school, but you're certainly not an old maid.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your gallantry.
So you're in the teaching profession.
Yes. Ah, yes.
Grade school, high school, or...
Mitch!
Come in!
Gracious, what lung power. I teach high school in Laurel.
What do you teach? What subject?
Guess.
I bet you teach art or music. Of course, I could be wrong. You might teach arithmetic.
Never arithmetic, sir. Never arithmetic. I don't even know my multiplication tables. No, I have the misfortune of being an English instructor. I attempt to instill a bunch of Bobby Soxers and drugstore Romeos with reverence for Hawthorne and Whitman and Pope.
I guess that some of them are more interested in other things.
Oh, how right you are. Their literary heritage is not what most of them treasure above all else. But they're sweet things. In spring, it's touching to notice them making their first discovery of love, as if nobody had ever known it before.
The bathroom door opens and Stella comes out. Blanche continues talking to Mitch.
Oh, have you finished? Wait, I'll turn on the radio.
She turns the knob on the radio and it begins to play Wine, There Du Allen. Blanche waltzes to the music with romantic gestures. Mitch is delighted and moves in awkward intimidation like a dancing bear. Stanley stalks fiercely through the portieres into the bedroom. He crosses to the small white radio and snatches it off the table. With a shouted oath, he tosses the instrument out the window.
Drunk! Animal thing, you! All of you, please go home. If any of you have one spark of decency in you.
Stella, watch out!
Stanley charges after Stella. All right, take it easy, Stanley.
You lay your hands on me and I'll...
She backs out of sight. He advances and disappears. There is the sound of a blow. Stella cries out. Blanche screams and runs into the kitchen. The men rush forward and there is grappling and cursing. Something is overturned with a crash.
My sister's going to have a baby!
This is terrible.
The absolute lunacy!
Get him in here.
Stanley is forced by these two men into the bedroom. He nearly throws them off. Then all at once he subsides and is limp in their grasp. They speak quietly and lovingly to him, and he leans his face on one of their shoulders.
To go away.
Poker shouldn't be played in a house with women.
I want my sister's clothes. We'll go to that woman's upstairs.
Where's the clothes?
I've got them. Stella, Stella, precious, dear, dear little sister, don't be afraid.
What's the matter? What happened?
What happened? You just blew your tops, Dan.
He's okay now.
Sure, my boy's okay.
Put him on the bed and get a wet towel.
I want water.
Put him under the shower.
Hey, let go of me, you sons of bitches!
Sounds of blows are heard.
Let's get quick out of here.
They rush to the poker table and sweep up their winnings on their way out.
Poker should not be played with women in the house.
The door closes on them and the place is still. The entertainers in the bar around the corner play paper dolls, slow and blue. After a moment, Stanley comes out of the bathroom, dripping water and still in his clinging wet polka dot drawers.
Stella, my baby doll's left me.
He breaks into sobs and he goes to the phone and dials, still shuddering with sobs.
Yes. Yes. I want my baby. I want my baby Eunice. He's a second. I'm gonna keep on dialing till talk to my baby.
An indistinguishable shrill voice is heard. He hurls the phone to floor. Stanley stumbles, half-dressed, out to the porch and down the wooden steps to the pavement before the building. There he throws back his head like a baying hound.
Stella! Stella, sweetheart! Stella! 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 Stella!
Quit that howling out there and go back
Stop
to bed.
me! What? No, Eunice, I want my baby down, you Stella! 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 Stella!
She ain't coming down, so you quit, or you'll get the law on you. You can't beat on a woman and then call her back. She won't come. And her gonna have a baby. You stinker. You welcome Polak, you. I hope they do haul you in and turn on the fire hose on you, same as the last time.
Stella, Eunice, I want my baby girl to come down with me.
Ha!
Stella!
The door upstairs opens again. Stella slips down the rickety stairs in her robe. Her eyes are glistening with tears and her hair loose about her throat and shoulders. They stare at each other, then they come together with low animal moans. He falls to his knees on the steps and presses his face to her belly, curving a little with paternity. Snatches the screen door open and lifts her off her feet and bears her into the dark flat. Blanche comes out on the upper landing in a robe and slips fearfully down the steps.
My little sister. Stella. Stella.
Mitch appears from around the corner.
Miss DuBois?
Oh.
All quiet on the Potomac now?
She ran downstairs and went back in there with him.
Sure she did.
I'm terrified.
Ugh, there's nothing to be scared of. They're crazy about each other.
I'm not used to such.
Nah, it's a shame this had to happen when you just got here, but don't take it serious.
Violence. It's so.
Settle down. Sit down on the steps and have a cigarette with me.
I'm not properly dressed.
That don't make no difference in the quarter.
Such a pretty silver case.
Showed you the inscription, didn't I?
Yes. There's so much confusion in the world. Thank you for being so kind. I need kindness now.
Scene 4. It is early the following morning. Stella is lying down in the bedroom. The table is sloppy with remains of breakfast and the debris of the preceding night, and Stanley's gaudy pajamas lie across the threshold of the bathroom. Blanche appears at this door. She has spent a sleepless night, and her appearance entirely contrasts with Stella's. She presses her knuckles nervously to her lips as she looks through the door before entering.
Stella. Oh.
Blanche runs into the bedroom, throwing herself down beside Stella in a rush of hysterical tenderness.
Baby, my baby sister.
Blanche, what's the matter with you?
He left.
Stan? Yes.
Will he be back?
He's gone to get the car greased. Why?
Why? I've been half crazy, Stella. When I found out you'd been insane enough to come back in here after what happened, I started to rush in after you.
I'm glad you didn't.
What were you thinking of? Answer me. What? What?
Please, Blanche. Sit down and stop yelling.
All right, Stella. I will repeat the question quietly now. How could you come back in this place last night? What? What, you must have slept with him.
Blanche, I've forgotten how excitable you are. You're making too much fuss over this.
Am I?
Yes, you are, Blanche. I know how it must have seemed to you, and I'm awful sorry it had to happen, but it wasn't anything as serious as you seem to take it. In the first place, when men are drinking and playing poker, anything can happen. It's always a powder keg. He didn't know what he was doing. He was as good as a lamb when I came back, and he's really very, very ashamed of himself.
And that makes it all right.
No, it isn't all right for anybody to make such a terrible row, but people do sometimes. Stanley's always smashed things. Why, on our wedding night, as soon as we came in here, he snatched off one of my slippers and rushed about the place, smashing the light bulbs with it.
He did what?
He smashed all the light bulbs with the heel of my slipper.
And you? And you let him? You didn't run, didn't scream?
I was sort of thrilled by it. Eunice and you had breakfast.
Do you suppose I wanted any breakfast?
There's some coffee left on the stove.
You're so matter of fact about it, Stella.
What other can I be? He's taken the radio to get it fixed. It didn't land on the pavement, so only one tube was smashed.
And you are standing there smiling.
What do you want me to do?
Pull yourself together and face facts.
What are they, in your opinion?
In my opinion, you're married to a madman.
No.
Yes, you are. Your fix is worse than mine is, only you're not being sensible about it. I'm going to do something. Get hold of myself and make myself a new life.
Yes.
But you've given in. And that isn't right. You're not old. You can get out.
I'm not in anything I want to get out of.
What? Stella.
I said I am not in anything that I have a desire to get out of. Look at the mess in this room and those empty bottles. They went through 2 cases last night. He promised this morning that he was going to quit having those poker parties. But you know how long such a promise is going to keep. Oh, well, it's his pleasure. Like mine is movies and bridge. People have got to tolerate each other's habits, I guess.
I don't understand you. I don't understand your indifference. Is this a Chinese philosophy you've cultivated?
Is what? What?
This shuffling and mumbling. 1 tube smashed, beer bottle, mess in the kitchen, as if nothing out of the ordinary has happened. Are you deliberately shaking that thing in my face?
No.
Stop it. Let go of that broom. I won't have you cleaning up for him.
Then who's gonna do it? Are you?
I?
No, I didn't think so.
I think if only my mind would function. We've got to get hold of some money. That's the way out.
I guess that money is always nice to get a hold of.
Listen to me. I have an idea of some kind. Do you remember Shep Huntley? Of course you remember Shep Huntley. I went out with him at college and was pinned for a while. Well, I ran into him last winter. You know I went to Miami during the Christmas holidays.
No.
Well, I did. I took a trip on an investment thinking I'd meet someone with $1 million.
Did you?
Yes, I ran into Shep Huntley. I ran into him on Biscayne Boulevard on Christmas Eve about dusk. Getting into his car, Cadillac convertible, must have been a block long.
I should think that would have been inconvenient in traffic.
You've heard of oil wells?
Yes, remotely.
He has them all over Texas. Texas is literally spouting gold in his pockets.
My.
Well, you know how different I am to money. I think of money in terms of what it does for you. But he could do it. He could certainly do it.
Do what, Blanche?
Well, set us up in a shop.
What kind of a shop?
Oh, it's a shop of some kind. He could do it with half of what his wife throws away at the races.
He's married?
Honey, would I be here if the man weren't married?
Blanche suddenly springs up and crosses to a phone.
Oh, how do I get Western Union? Operator, Western Union.
That's a dial phone, honey.
I can't dial. I'm too...
Just dial 0.
0?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes, 0 for operator.
Give me a pencil. Where's this slip of paper? You've got to write this down first. The message, I mean.
She goes to the dressing table and grabs up a sheet of Kleenex and an eyebrow pencil for writing equipment.
Let me see now. Darling Shep, sister and I in desperate situation.
I beg your pardon?
Sister and I in desperate situation. We'll explain details later. Would you be interested in interested in. You never get anywhere with direct appeals.
Don't be so ridiculous, darling.
But I'll think of something. I've got to think of something. Tell me. Don't you laugh at me. Stella, please don't. I want you to look at the contents of my purse. Here's what's in it. 65 measly cents in coin of the realm.
Stanley doesn't give me a regular allowance. He likes to pay bills himself, but this morning he gave me $10 to smooth things over. You take 5 of it, Blanche, and I'll keep the rest.
Oh, no. Stella.
I know how it helps your morale, just having a little pocket money on you.
Oh, thank you. I'll take to the streets.
Take sense. How did you happen to get so low on funds?
It just goes. It goes places. Sometime today I've got to get hold of a bromo.
I'll fix you one now.
Not yet. I've got to keep thinking.
I wish you'd just let things go, at least for a while.
Stella, I can't live with him. You can. He's your husband. But how could I stay here with him after last night with just those curtains between us?
Blanche, you saw him at his worst last night.
On the contrary, I saw him at his best. What such a man has to offer is animal force, and he gave a wonderful exhibition of that. But the only way to live with such a man is to go to bed with him. And that's your job, not mine.
After you've rested a little, you'll see it's going to work out. You don't have to worry about anything while you're here. I mean, expenses.
I have to plan for us both to get us both out.
You take for granted that I'm in something I want to get out of.
I take it for granted that you still have sufficient memory of Belle Reve to find this place and these poker players impossible to live with.
Well, you're taking entirely too much for granted.
I can't believe you're in earnest.
No.
I understand how it happened a little. You saw him in uniform, an officer, not here.
I'm not sure it would have made any difference where I saw him.
Now, don't say it was one of those mysterious electric things between people. If you do, I'll laugh in your face.
I'm not going to say anything more about it at all.
All right, then, don't.
But there are things that happen between a man and a woman in the dark that sort of make everything else seem unimportant.
What you are talking about is brutal desire. Just desire, the name of that rattle-trap streetcar that bangs through the quarter, up one old narrow street and down another.
Haven't you ever ridden on that streetcar?
It brought me here, where I'm not wanted and where I'm ashamed to be.
Then don't you think that your superior attitude is a bit out of place?
I am not being or feeling at all superior, Stella. Believe me, I'm not. It's just this. This is how I look at it. A man like that is someone to go out with once, twice, 3 times when the devil is in you, but live with, have a child by.
I have told you, I love him.
Then I tremble for you. I just tremble for you.
I can't help you trembling if you insist on trembling.
May I speak plainly?
Yes, do. Go ahead as plainly as you want to.
Outside, a train approaches. They are silent till the noise subsides. They are both in the bedroom. Under cover of the train's noise, Stanley enters from outside. He stands unseen by the women, holding some packages in his arms, and overhears their following conversation.
Well, if you'll forgive me, he's common.
Why, yes, I suppose he is.
Suppose. You can't have forgotten that much of our bringing up, Stella, that you just suppose that any part of a gentleman's in his nature. Not one particle, no. Oh, if he was just ordinary, just plain, but good and wholesome. Oh, no. There's something downright bestial about him. You're hating me saying this, aren't you?
Go on and say it all, Blanche.
He acts like an animal, has an animal's habits. He eats like one, moves like one, talks like one. There's even something subhuman, something not quite to the stage of humanity yet. Yes, something ape-like about him, like one of those pictures I've seen in anthropological studies. Thousands and thousands of years have passed him right by, and there he is, Stanley Kowalski, survivor of the Stone Age, bearing the raw meat home from the kill in the jungle, and you here waiting for him. Maybe he'll strike you, or maybe grunt and kiss you. That is, if kisses have been discovered yet. Night falls and the other apes gather there in front of the cave, all grunting like him and swilling and gnawing and hulking. His poker night, you call it. This party of apes. Somebody growls. Some creature snatches at something and the fight is on. God! Maybe we are a long way from being made in God's image, but Stella, my sister, there has been some progress since then. Such things as art, as poetry and music. Such kinds of new light have come into the world since then. In some kinds of people, some tenderer feelings have had some little beginning. What we have got to make grow and cling to and hold as our flag. In this dark march toward whatever it is we're approaching, don't hang back with the brutes.
Another train passes outside. Stanley hesitates, licking his lips. Then suddenly he turns stealthily about and withdraws through the front door. The women are still unaware of his presence. When the train has passed, he calls through the closed front door.
Hey, Stella!
Stanley?
Hiya, Stella. Blanche back?
Yes, she's back.
Hiya, Blanche.
You must have got under the car.
Oh, them mechanics from Fritz's don't know their ass from... Hey!
Stella has embraced him with both arms, fiercely and full in the view of Blanche. He laughs and clasps her head to him. Over her head, he grins through the curtains at Blanche. And we will take a 10-minute intermission. Scene 5. Blanche is seated in the bedroom, fanning herself with a palm leaf as she reads over a just completed letter. Suddenly, she bursts into a peal of laughter. Stella is dressing Stella is dressing in the bedroom.
What was that, Stella? I couldn't hear you.
What are you laughing at, honey?
Myself. Myself for being such a liar. I'm writing a letter to Shep. Darling Shep, I am spending the summer on the wing, making flying visits here and there. And who knows? Perhaps I shall take a sudden notion to swoop down on Dallas. How would you feel about that? For wanders for armed, as they say. How does that sound? Most of my sister's friends go north in the summer, but some have homes on the Gulf, and there's been a continual round of entertainments, teas, cocktails, and luncheons.
A disturbance is heard upstairs at the Hubble's apartment.
Eunice seems to be having some trouble with Steve.
I heard about you and that blonde.
That's a damn lie.
You ain't pulling the wool over my eyes. I wouldn't mind if you'd stay down for deuces, but you always going up.
Who ever seen me up?
I seen you chasing her around the balcony. I'm gonna call the vice squad.
Don't you throw that at me.
You hit me. I'm gonna call the police.
A clatter of aluminum striking a wall is heard, followed by a man's angry roar, shouts, and overturned furniture.
Whoa, whoa.
There is a crash, then a relative hush.
Did he kill her?
No, she's coming downstairs.
Call the police. I'm gonna call the police.
Stanley comes around the corner in his green and scarlet silk bowling shirt. He trots up the steps and bangs into the kitchen. Blanche registers his entrance with nervous gestures.
What's the matter with Eunice?
She and Steve had a row. She got the police.
Nah, she's getting a drink.
That's much more practical.
Eh.
She here?
Nah, the four deuces.
That rutting hunk.
I must jot that down in my notebook. I'm compiling a notebook of quaint little words and phrases I've picked up here.
Well, you won't pick up nothing here you ain't heard before.
Can I count on that?
You can count on it up to 500.
That's a mighty high number.
He jerks open the bureau drawer, slams it shut, and throws his shoes in a corner. At each noise, Blanche winces slightly.
What sign were you born under?
Sign?
Astrological sign. I bet you were born under Aries. Aries people are forceful and dynamic. They dote on noise. They love to bang things around. Must have had lots of banging around in the army. And now that you're out, you make up for it by treating inanimate objects with such a fury.
Stella has been going in and out of closet during the scene. Now she pops her head out of the closet.
Stanley was born just 5 minutes after Christmas.
Capricorn, the goat.
What sign were you born under, Blanche?
Oh, my birthday's next month, the 15th of September. That's under Virgo.
What's Virgo?
Virgo is the virgin.
Ha! Say, do you happen to know somebody named Shaw?
Her face expresses a faint shock. She reaches for the cologne bottle and dampens her handkerchief as she answers carefully.
Why? Everybody knows somebody named Shaw.
Well, there's somebody named Shaw's under the impression that he met you and Laurel. Yeah, I figure he must have got you mixed up with some other party, because this other party is someone that he met at a hotel called the Flamingo.
I'm afraid lady does have me mixed up with this other party. The Hotel Flamingo is not the sort of establishment I would dare be seen in.
You know of it?
Yes, I've seen it and smelled it.
You must have gotten pretty close if you could smell it.
The odor of cheap perfume is penetrating.
Oh, that stuff you use is expensive.
$25 an ounce. Out. That's just a hint if you want to remember my birthday.
Yeah. Shaw must have got you mixed up then. He goes in and out of Laurel all the time so we can check in on it and clear up any mistake.
Turns away and crosses to the portieres. Blanche closes her eyes as if faint. Her hand trembles as she lifts the handkerchief again to her forehead. Steve and Eunice come around the corner. Steve's arm is around Eunice's shoulder and she is sobbing luxuriously and he is cooing love words.
I'll wait for you at the Four Deuces.
Hey, don't I rate one kiss?
Oh, not in front of your sister.
He goes out. Blanche rises from her chair. She seems faint, looks about her with an expression of almost panic.
What have you heard about me?
Huh?
What have people been telling you about me?
Telling?
You haven't heard any unkind gossip about me?
Why, no, Blanche, of course not.
Honey, there was a good deal of talk in Laurel.
About you, Blanche?
I wasn't so good the last 2 years or so after Beirmeister started to slip through my fingers.
All of us do things
I never was hard or self-sufficient enough. When people are soft people have got to shimmer and glow. They've got to put on soft colors, the colors of butterfly wings, and put a paper lantern over the light. It isn't enough to be soft. You've got to be soft and attractive. And I'm fading now. I don't know how much longer I can turn the trick.
The afternoon has faded to dusk. Stella goes into the bedroom and turns on the light under the paper lantern. She holds a bottled soft drink in her hand.
Have you been listening to me?
I don't listen to you when you're being morbid.
Is there coke for me?
Not for anyone else.
Why, you precious thing, you. Is it just coke?
You mean you want a shot in it?
Well, honey, a shot never does a coke any harm. Let me. You mustn't wait on me.
I like to wait on you, Blanche. It makes it seem more like home.
I have to admit, I love to be waited on.
She rushes into the bedroom. Stella goes to her with the glass. Blanche suddenly clutches Stella's free hand with a moaning sound and presses the hand to her lips. Stella is embarrassed by her show of emotion.
You're so good to me, and
Blanche.
I know I won't. You hate me to talk sentimental, but honey, believe I feel things more than I tell you. I won't stay long. I won't. I promise.
Blanche.
I won't. I promise I'll go soon. I will. Really, I won't hang around until he throws me out.
Now, will you stop talking foolish?
Yes, honey. Watch how you pour. That busy stuff foams over.
Blanche grabs the glass, but her hand shakes so it almost slips from her grasp. Stella pours the Coke into the glass.
Heavens.
Right on my pretty wet skirt.
Oh, use my hanky. Blot gently.
Run gently.
Did it stain?
Not a bit. Isn't that lucky?
Why did you scream like that?
I don't know why I screamed. Mitch is coming at 7. I guess I'm just feeling nervous about our relations. He hasn't gotten a thing but a goodnight kiss, and that's all I've given him, Stella. I want his respect, and men don't want anything they get too easy. But on the other hand, men lose interest quickly, especially when the girl is over 30. I think a girl over 30 ought to, the vulgar term is put out, and I'm not putting out. Of course, he doesn't know. I mean, I haven't informed him of my age.
Why are you sensitive about your age?
Because of the hard knocks my vanity's been given. What I mean is he thinks I'm sort of prim and proper, you know.
Blanche.
I want to deceive him enough to make him want me.
Blanche, do you want him?
I want to rest. I want to breathe quietly again. Yes, I want Mitch very badly. Just think, if it happens, I can leave here and not be anyone's problem.
Stanley comes around the corner.
Can't hear you, Stan. Can't hear you, Stanley.
Hey, Steve. Hey, Eunice. Hey, Stella.
It will happen.
It will.
It will. It will, honey. But don't take another drink.
Blanche sinks faintly back in her chair with her drink. Eunice shrieks with laughter and runs down the steps. Steve bounds after her with goat-like screeches and chases her around the corner. Stanley and Stella twine arms as they follow, laughing. Dusk settles deeper.
Oh, me. Oh, me. Oh, me.
A young man comes along the street and rings the bell.
Man. Well, what can I do for you?
Collecting for the Evening Star?
I didn't know that stars took up collection.
It's the paper.
Oh, I know, I was joking. Feebly. Will you have a drink?
No, ma'am. No, thank you. I can't drink on the job.
Oh, well, now let's see. No, I don't have a dime. I'm not the lady of the house. I'm her sister from Mississippi. I'm one of those poor relations you heard about.
That's all right. I'll drop by later.
Hey, could you give me a line?
Sure. Doesn't always work.
Is temperamental. Ah, thank you. Hey, what time is it?
15 to 7, ma'am.
So late. Oh, don't you just love these long, rainy afternoons in New Orleans when an hour isn't just an hour, but a little piece of eternity dropped into your hands. And who knows what to do with it? You didn't get wet in the rain?
No, ma'am, I stepped inside.
In a drugstore and had a soda?
Uh-huh.
Chocolate?
No, ma'am. Cherry.
Oh, cherry.
Cherry soda.
You make my mouth water.
Well, I better be going.
Young man.
He turns. She takes a large step, a gossamer scarf from her trunk. Oh, she takes a large gossamer scarf from her trunk and drapes it about her shoulders.
Young man. Young man. Has anyone ever told you that you look like a young prince out of Arabian Nights?
The young man laughs uncomfortably and stands like a bashful kid.
Well, you do, honey lamb. Come here, I want to kiss you. Just once. Softly and sweetly on your mouth. Now run along quickly. It would be nice to keep you, but I've got to be good and keep my hands off children.
He stares at her a moment. She opens the door for him and blows a kiss at him as he goes down the steps with a dazed look. She stands there a little dreamily after he has disappeared. Then Mitch appears around the corner with a bunch of roses.
Look who's coming! Oh, my Rosen Cavalier. Bow to me. Now present them. Ah, merci.
Scene 6. It is about 2 a.m. on the same evening. The outer wall of the building is visible. Blanche and Mitch come in. The utter exhaustion which only a neurasthenic personality can know is evident in Blanche's voice and manner. Mitch is stolid but depressed. They have probably been out to the amusement park on Lake Pontchartrain, where Mitch is bearing upside down a plaster statue of Mae West, the sort of prize won at shooting galleries and carnival games of chance.
Oh. Well.
I guess it must be pretty late and you're tired.
Even the hot tamale man has deserted the street. He hangs on till the end. How are you home?
I'll walk over to Bergen and catch an owl car.
Is that streetcar named Desire still grinding along the tracks at this hour?
I'm afraid you haven't got much fun out of this evening, Blanche.
I spoiled it for you.
No, you didn't. But I felt all the time that I wasn't giving you much entertainment.
I simply couldn't rise to the occasion. That was all. I don't think I've ever tried so hard to be gay and made such a dismal mess of it. I got 10 points for trying. I did try.
Why did you try if you didn't feel like it, Blanche?
I was just obeying the law of nature.
Which law is that?
The one that says the lady must entertain the gentleman, or no dice. See if you can locate my door key in this purse when I'm so tired, my fingers are all thumbs.
Is this it?
No, honey, that's the key to my trunk, which I must soon be packing.
You mean you're leaving here soon?
I have outstayed my welcome.
This it?
Oh, Eureka! Honey, you open the door while I take a last look at the sky. I'm looking for the Pleiades, the Seven Sisters, but those girls are not out tonight. Oh, yes, they are. There they are. God bless them. All in a bunch going home from their little bridge party. You get the door open? Good boy. I guess you want to go now.
Can I kiss you? Good night.
Why do you always ask me if you may?
I don't know whether you want me to or not.
Why should you be so doubtful?
That night when we parked by the lake and I kissed you, you...
Honey, it wasn't the kiss I objected to. I liked the kiss very much. It was the other little familiarity that I felt obligated to discourage. I didn't resent it, not a bit in the world. In fact, I was somewhat flattered that you desired me. But honey, you know as well as I do that a single girl, a girl alone in the world, has got to keep a firm hold on her emotions or she'll be lost.
Lost?
I guess you're used to girls that like to be lost. The kind that get lost immediately on the first date.
I like you to be exactly the way you are. Because in all my experience, I have never known anyone like you. Are you laughing at me?
No, honey. The lord and lady of the house have not yet returned, so come in. We'll have a nightcap. Let's leave the lights off, shall we?
You just do what you want.
Blanche precedes him into the kitchen. The outer wall of the building disappears and the interiors of the two rooms can be dimly seen.
The other room's more comfortable. Go on in. This crashing around in the dark is my search for some liquor.
You want a drink?
I want you to have a drink. You have been so anxious and solemn all evening. And so have I. We have both been anxious and solemn. And now, for these last few remaining moments of our lives together, I want to create joie de vivre. Oh, I am lighting a candle.
That's good.
We are going to be very bohemian. We are going to pretend that we are sitting in a little artist's cafe on the left bank in Paris. Je suis la dame comme il vous est au monde. Understand French?
Nah,
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Vous ne comprenez pas? Ah, quel dommage. No, I mean, it's a damn good thing. Oh, I found some liquor, just enough for 2 shots without any dividends, honey.
That's good. That's good.
Well, sit there. Why don't you take off your coat and loosen your collar?
I'd better leave it on.
No, I want you to be comfortable.
I'm ashamed of the way I perspire. My shirt is sticking to me.
Perspiration is healthy. If people didn't perspire, they would die in 5 minutes. Oh, this is a nice coat. What kind of material is it?
They call that stuff alpaca.
Oh, alpaca.
It's very lightweight alpaca.
Oh, lightweight alpaca.
I don't like to wear a wash coat, even in the summer, because I sweat through it.
Oh,
It don't look neat on me. Man with a heavy build has got to be careful of what he puts on him so he don't look too clumsy.
you are not too heavy.
You don't think that I am?
You are not the delicate type. You have a massive bone structure and a very imposing physique.
Thank you. Last Christmas, I was given membership to the New Orleans Athletic Club.
Oh, good.
It was the finest present I ever was given. I work out there with the weights and I swim and keep myself fit. When I started there, I was getting soft in the belly. But now my belly is hard. It's so hard that a man can punch me in the belly and it don't hurt. Go ahead, punch me. Go on. See?
Gracious.
Guess how much I weigh, Blanche?
Oh, I'd say in the vicinity of 180.
Yes, again.
Not that much.
No more.
Oh, well, you are a tall man and you can carry a good deal of weight without looking awkward.
I weigh 207 pounds and I'm 6'1.5" tall, and my bare feet without shoes on. That's what I weigh stripped.
Oh my goodness me. It's awe-inspiring.
My weight's not very, it's not a very interesting subject to talk about. What's yours?
My weight.
Yes.
Guess.
Let me lift you.
Oh, Samson, go on, lift me. Well,
You're light as a feather.
you may release me now.
Huh?
I said, unhand me, sir. Now, Mitch, just because Stanley and Stella aren't at home is no reason why you shouldn't behave like a gentleman.
Just give me a slap whenever I step out of bounds.
That won't be necessary. You are a natural gentleman, one of the very few that are left in this world. I don't want you to think that I am severe and old maid school teacheress or anything like that. It's just, well,
Huh?
I guess it's just that I have old-fashioned ideals.
Where's Stanley and Stella tonight?
They have gone out with Mr. and Mrs. Hubble upstairs.
Where did they go?
I think they were planning to go to a midnight preview at Lowe's State.
We should all go out sometime.
No, that would not be a good idea.
Why not?
You're an old friend of Stanley's.
We were together in the 241st.
I guess he talks to you frankly.
Sure.
Has he talked to you about me?
Well, not very much.
The way you say that, I suspect he has.
No, he hasn't said much.
But what he has said, what would you say is his attitude toward me?
Why do you say it? Why do you ask like that?
Well,
Don't you get along with him?
what do you think?
I don't think he understands you.
That's putting it mildly. Oh, if it weren't for Stella about to have a baby, I wouldn't be able to endure things here.
He isn't nice to you?
He is insufferably rude. Goes out of his way to offend me.
In what way, Blanche?
Why, in every conceivable way.
I'm surprised to hear that.
Are you?
Well, I don't see how anybody could be rude to you.
It's really a pretty frightful situation. You see, there's no privacy here. There's just these portières between the two rooms at night. He stalks through the rooms in his underwear at night, and I have to ask him to close the bathroom door. That sort of commonness isn't necessary. You probably wonder why I don't move out. Well, I'll tell you frankly. A teacher's salary is barely sufficient for her living expenses. I didn't save a penny last year, and so I had to come here for the summer. That's why I have to put up with my sister's husband, and he has to put up with me, apparently so much against his wishes. Surely he must have told you how much he hates me.
I don't think he hates you.
He hates me. Oh, why else would he insult me? The first time I laid eyes on him, I thought to myself, that man is my executioner. That man will destroy me unless...
Blanche,
Yes, honey.
can I ask a question?
Yes, what?
How old are you?
Why do you want to know?
I talked to my mother about you, and she said, how old is Blanche? I wasn't able to tell her.
You talked to your mother about me?
Yes,
Why?
I told my mother how nice you were, and I like you.
Were you sincere about that?
You know I was.
Why did your mother want to know my age?
Mother is sick.
I'm sorry to hear it. Badly?
She won't live long. Maybe just a few months.
Oh.
She worries because I'm not settled.
Oh.
She wants me to be settled down.
You love her very much, don't you?
Yes.
I think you have a great capacity for devotion. You will be lonely when she passes on, won't you? I understand what that is.
You lonely?
I loved someone too. And the person I loved, I lost.
Dead? Man?
She crosses to the window and sits on the sill, looking out. She pours herself another drink.
He was a boy. Just a boy. When I was a very young girl. When I was 16, I made the discovery. Love. All at once and much, much too completely. It was like you suddenly turned a blinding light on something that had always been half in shadow. That's how it struck the world for me. But I was unlucky, deluded. There was something different about the boy. A nervousness, a softness and tenderness, which wasn't like a man's. Although he wasn't the least bit effeminate looking, still that thing was there. He came to me for help. I didn't know that. I didn't find out anything till after our marriage, when we'd run away and come back, and all I knew was I'd failed him in some mysterious way and wasn't able to give the help he needed but couldn't speak of. He was in the quicksands and clutching at me, but I wasn't holding him out. I was slipping in with him. I didn't know that. I didn't know anything except I loved him unendurably, but without being able to help him or help myself. And I found out in the worst of all possible ways by coming suddenly into a room that I thought was empty, which wasn't empty, but had two people in it. The boy I had married and an older man who had been his friend for years.
A locomotive is heard approaching outside. She claps her hands to her ears and crouches over. The headlights of the locomotive glares into the room as it thunders past. As the noise recedes, she straightens slowly and continues speaking.
Afterwards, we pretended like nothing had happened. Nothing had been discovered. Yes, the three of us drove out to Moon Lake Casino, very drunk and laughing all the way. We danced the Varsvoviana. Suddenly, in the middle of the dance, the boy I had married broke away from me and ran out of the casino. A few moments later, a shot.
Blanche rises stiffly.
I ran out, all did. All ran and gathered around the terrible thing at the edge of the lake. I couldn't get near for the crowding. Then somebody caught my arm. Don't go any closer. Come back. You don't want to see. See? See what? And I heard voices say, Alan, Alan, the gray boy. He'd stuck a revolver into his mouth and fired, so that the back of his head had been blown away.
She sways and covers her face.
It was because on the dance floor, unable to stop myself, I'd suddenly said, I saw. I know you disgust me. And then the searchlight, which had been turned on the world, was turned off again. And never for one moment since has there been any light that's stronger than this kitchen candle.
Mitch gets up awkwardly and moves toward her a little.
You need somebody. And I need somebody too. Could it be you and me, Blanche?
She stares at him vacantly for a moment, then with a soft cry huddles in his embrace. She makes a sobbing effort to speak, but the words won't come. He kisses her forehead and her eyes and finally her lips. The polka tune fades out. Her breath is drawn and released in long, grateful sobs.
Sometimes there's God. So quickly.
Scene 7. It is late afternoon in mid-September. The portieres are open and a table is set for a birthday supper with cake and flowers. Stella is completing the decorations as Stanley comes in.
What's all this stuff for?
Honey, it's Blanche's birthday.
She here?
In the bathroom.
Oh, washing out some things?
I reckon so.
How long's she been in there?
All afternoon.
Oh, soaking in a hot tub.
Yes.
Temperature 100 on the nose when she soaks herself in a hot tub.
She says it cools her off for the evening.
Yeah, and you run out and get her cokes, I suppose, huh? And serve them to Her Majesty in the tub? Sit down here a minute.
Stanley, I've got things to do.
No, sit down. I got the dope on your big sister, Stella.
Stanley, stop picking on Blanche.
Oh, that girl calls me common.
Lately, you've been doing all you can think of to rub her the wrong way, Stanley. And Blanche is sensitive, and you've got to realize that. Blanche and I grew up very different circumstances than you did.
Yeah, so I've been told, and told, and told, and told, and told. You know, she's been feeding us a pack of lies here.
No, I don't, and...
Well, she has, and now the cat's out of the bag. I found out some things.
What things?
Some things I already suspected, but now I got proof from the most reliable sources, which I have checked on.
Blanche is singing in the bathroom Saccharine, popular ballad which is used contrapichlach with Stanley's speech.
Lower your voice.
Yeah, some canary bird, huh?
Now, please tell me quietly what you think you found out about my sister.
Lie number one. All this squeamishness she puts on. You should just know the line she's been feeding to Mitch. He thought he thought that she had never been more than kissed by a fellow. But Sister Blanche is no lily. Ha ha ha! Some lily she is.
What have you heard, and from whom?
Our supply man down at the plant has been going through Laurel for years, and he knows all about her, and everybody else in the town of Laurel knows about her. She's as famous in Laurel as if she was the President of the United States, only she is not respected by any party. This supply man stops at a hotel called the Flamingo.
Hey, it's only a paper moon sailing over a cardboard sea. But it wouldn't be make-believe if you believed it.
What about the Flamingo?
Well, she stayed there too.
My sister lived in Beirmeister.
Oh, that is after the home place had slipped through her lily-white fingers. She moved to the Flamingo, a second-class hotel which has the advantage of not interfering in the private social life of the personalities there. The Flamingo is used to all kinds of goings-on, but even the management of the Flamingo was impressed by Dame Blanche. In fact, they were so impressed by Dame Blanche that they requested her to turn in a room key for permanently. Yeah, this happened a couple of weeks before she showed here.
It's a Barnum and Bailey world, just as phony as it can be. But it wouldn't be make.
What contemptible lies.
Now, Sarah, I can see how you would be upset by this. She pulled the wool over your eyes as much as Mitch's.
It's pure invention. There's not a word of truth in it, and if I were a man, and this creature had dared to invent such things in my presence...
Without your love, it's a honky-tonk parade. Without your love, it's a...
No, honey, I told you I thoroughly checked in on these stories, all right? Now wait until I finish. The trouble with Dame Blanche was that she couldn't put on her act anymore in Laurel. They got wised up after 2 or 3 dates with her, and they quit. And then she goes on to another. The same old line, same old act, same old hooey. But this town was too small for this to go on forever. So as time went by, she became the town character, regarded as not just different, but downright local nuts. And for this last year or two, she has been washed up like poison. That's why she's been here this summer, visiting royalty, putting on this act, because she's practically told by the mayor to get out of town. Yes, did you know that there was an army camp near Laurel, and your sister's was one of the places called Out of Bounds?
It's only a paper moon, just as phony as it can be.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be make
So much for her being a refined and particular type of girl, which brings us to lie number 2.
I don't want to hear anymore.
No, she's not going back to teach school. In fact, I am willing to bet you that she never had any idea of returning to Laurel. She didn't resign temporarily from the high school because of her nerves. No, sorry-bata. She didn't. They kicked her out of that high school before the spring term ended. Oh, and I hate to tell you the reason that step was taken. A 17-year-old boy she'd gotten mixed up with.
It's a Barnum and Bailey world, just as phony as it can be.
In the bathroom, the water goes on loud. Little breathless cries and peals of laughter are heard as if a child were frolicking in the tub.
This is making me sick.
Yeah, the high school boy's dad learned about it and he got in touch with the school superintendent. Boy, oh boy, I would love to have been there in the office when Dame Blanche was called out on the carpet. Oh, I'd have liked to seen her trying to squirm out of that one, but they had her on the hook good and proper that time and she knew the jig was all up. They told her she better move on to some fresh territory. Yep. It practically was a town ordinance passed out against her.
The bathroom doors opened and Blanche thrusts her head out, holding a towel around her hair.
Stella,
Yes, Blanche?
give me another bath towel to dry my hair with. I just washed it.
Yes, Blanche.
What's the matter, honey?
Matter? Why?
You have such a strange expression on your face.
Oh, I guess I'm a little tired.
Why don't you bathe too, just as soon as I get out?
And how soon is that gonna be?
Not so terribly long. Possess your soul in patience.
It's not my soul, it's my kidneys I'm worried about.
Oh.
Blanche slams the door. Stella comes slowly back into the kitchen.
Well, what do you think of it?
I don't believe all of these stories, and I think your supply man was mean and rotten to tell them. It's possible that some of these things he said are partly true. There are things about my sister I don't approve of. Things that cause sorrow at home. She was always flighty.
Flighty?
But when she was young, very young, she married a boy who wrote poetry. He was extremely good looking. I think Blanche didn't just love him, but worshipped him. Worshipped the ground he walked on. Adored him and thought him almost too fine to be human. But then she found out.
What?
The beautiful and talented young man was a degenerate. Didn't your supply man give you that information?
All we discussed was recent history. That must have been a pretty long time ago.
Yes, it was a pretty long time ago.
Stanley comes up and takes her by the shoulders rather gently. She gently withdraws from him.
How many candles are you putting on that cake?
I'll stop at 25.
Is company expected?
We asked Mitch to come over for cake and ice cream.
I wouldn't be expecting Mitch over tonight.
Why?
Mitch is a buddy of mine. We were in the same outfit together. 241st Engineers. We work in the same plant and now on the same bowling team. You think I could face him if I...
Stanley Kowalski. Did you repeat what that...
You goddamn right I told him. I'd rather have that on my conscience the rest of my life if I knew all that stuff and let my best friend get caught.
Is Mitch through with her?
Well, wouldn't you be if you found out that all that was happening?
Stanley. She thought Mitch was going to marry her. I was hoping so too.
Well, he's not going to marry her. Maybe he was, but he's not going to jump into a tank with a school of sharks now. Blanche! Oh, Blanche! Could I please get in my bathroom?
Yes, indeed, sir. Can you wait 1 second while I dry?
Having waited 1 hour, I guess 1 second ought to pass in a hurry.
And she hasn't got a job? Well, what will she do?
Well, she's not staying here till Tuesday. You know that, don't you? Yeah, just to make sure. I got the ticket myself. A bus ticket.
In the first place, Blanche wouldn't go on a bus.
She'll go on a bus and like it.
No, she won't. She won't, Stanley.
She'll go, period. P.S. She will go Tuesday.
What'll she do? What on earth will she do?
Her future is mapped out for her.
What do you mean?
Hey, canary bird! Toots, get out of the bathroom!
The bathroom door flies open and Blanche emerges with a gay peal of laughter. But as Stanley crosses past her, a frightened look appears on her face, almost a look of panic. He doesn't look at her, but slams the bathroom door shut as he goes in.
Oh, I feel so good after my long hot bath. I feel so good and cool and rested.
Do you, Blanche?
Yes, I do. I'm so refreshed. Hot bath and a long cold drink always gives me a brand new outlook on life. Something has happened. What is it?
Why, nothing has happened, Blanche.
You're lying. Something has.
She stares fearfully at Stella, who pretends to be busy at the table. Scene 8. 3/4 of an hour later. The view through the big windows is fading gradually into the still golden dusk. A torch of sunlight blazes on the side of a big water tank or oil drum across the empty lot toward the business district, which is now pierced by pinpoints of lighted windows, or windows reflecting the sunset. The three people are completing a dismal birthday supper. Stanley looks sullen, Stella is embarrassed and sad. Blanche has a tight artificial smile on her drawn face. There is a fourth place at the table which is left vacant.
Stanley, tell us a joke. Tell us a funny story to make us all laugh. I don't know what's the matter. We're all so solemn. Is it because I've been stood up by my bone? It's the first time in my entire experience with men, and I've had a good deal of all sorts, that I've actually been stood up by anybody. I don't know how to take it. Tell us a funny little story, Stanley, something to help us out.
I don't think you like my stories, Blanche.
I like them when they're amusing, but not indecent.
I don't know when you're refined enough for your taste.
Then let me tell one.
Yes, you tell one, Blanche. You used to know a lot of good stories.
Let me see now. I must run through my repertoire. Oh, yes, I love parrot stories. Do y'all like parrot stories? Well, this one is about an old maid and the parrot. Old maid, she had a parrot that cursed a blue streak and knew more vulgar expressions than Mr. Kowalski. And the only way to hush the parrot up was to put the cover back on its cage so it would think it was night and sleep. Well, one morning, the old maid had just uncovered the parrot for the day when who should she see coming up the front walk but the preacher? Well, she rushed after the parrot and slipped the cover back on the cage, and then she let in the preacher. And the parrot was perfectly still, just as quiet as a mouse. But just as she was asking the preacher how much sugar he wanted in his coffee, the parrot broke the silence with a loud, "Goddamn, but that was a short day."
Stanley pays no attention to the story, but reaches way over the table to spear his fork into the remaining chop, which he eats with his fingers.
Apparently, Mr. Kowalski was not amused.
Mr. Kowalski is too busy making a pig of himself to think of anything else.
That's right, baby.
Your face and your fingers are disgustingly greasy. Go and wash up and then help me clear the table.
He hurls a plate to the floor.
That's how I'll clear the table. Don't ever talk that way to me! Pig, Pollock, disgusting, vulgar, greasy. Them kind of words have been on your tongue and your sisters too much around here. What do you think you are? A couple of queens? Remember what Huey Long said. Every man is a king. And I am the king around here, and don't forget it.
He hurls a cup and saucer to the floor.
My place is cleared. You want me to clear your places?
Stanley stalks out on the porch and lights a cigarette.
What happened while I was bathing? What did he tell you, Stella?
Nothing.
I think he told you something about Mitch and me. You know Mitch didn't come, but you won't tell me. I'm going to call him.
I wouldn't call him, Blanche.
I am. I'm going to call him on the phone.
I wish you would.
I intend to be given some explanation from someone.
She rushes to the phone in the bedroom. Stella goes out on the porch and stares reproachfully at her husband. He grunts and turns away from her.
I hope you're pleased with your doings. I never had so much trouble swallowing food in my life. Looking at that girl's face in that empty chair.
Hello? Mr. Mitchell, please. Oh. I would like to leave a number, if I may. Magnolia 9047. And say it's... Yes, it's very important.
Stanley turns slowly back towards his wife and takes her clumsily in his arms.
Stella, it's going to be all right after she goes and after you've had the baby. It's going to be all right again between you and me and the way that it was. Remember the way that it was? The nights we had together. Oh, God, honey. It's going to be sweet when we can make noise in the night. The way that we used to. And get those colored lights going. Nobody's sister behind the curtains to hear us.
Their upstairs neighbors are heard in bellowing laughter at something.
Steve and Eunice, huh?
Come on back in. Blanche.
Oh, those pretty little candles. Oh, don't burn them.
I certainly will.
You ought to save them for babies' birthdays. Oh, I hope candles are going to glow in his life, and I hope that his eyes are going like candles. 2 blue candles and a little white cake.
What poetry.
I shouldn't have called him.
There's lots of things could have happened.
There's no excuse for it, Stella. I don't have to put up with insults. I won't be taken for granted.
God damn it, it's hot in here with the heat from the bathroom.
I said I was sorry 3 times. I take hot baths for my nerves. Hydrotherapy, they call it. You healthy without a nerve in your body. Of course you don't know what anxiety feels like.
I am not a Polak. People from Poland are Poles, not Polacks. What I am is 100% American-born and raised in the greatest country on earth and proud as hell of it. So don't ever call me a Polak.
The phone rings. Blanche rises expectantly.
Oh, that's for me, I'm sure.
Hey, I'm not sure. Keep your seat. Hello? Oh, yeah, hello, Mac. Hey.
He leans against the wall, staring insultingly at Blanche. She sinks back in her chair with a frightened look. Stella leans over and touches her shoulder.
Keep your hands off me, Stella. What is the matter with you? Why do you look at me with that pitying look?
Quiet in there! Oh, we got a noisy woman at the place. Go on, Mac. Huh? That Riley's? Nah, I don't want to bowl at Riley's. I had a little trouble with Riley last week. I'm the team captain, aren't I? Huh? Yeah, all right then. Yeah. We're not going to bowl at Riley's. We're going to bowl at the West Side or Gala. All right, Mac. See ya.
He hangs up and returns to the table. Blanche fiercely controls herself, drinking quickly from her tumbler of water. He doesn't look at her, but reaches in a pocket. Then he speaks slowly with false amiability.
Sister Blanche. I've got a little birthday remembrance for you.
Oh, Stanley. I wasn't expecting any. I don't know why Stella wants to observe my birthday. I'd much rather forget it. When you reach 27, well, age is a subject that you prefer to ignore.
27.
What is it? Is it for me?
Yes, I hope you like it.
What?
It's a ticket! Back to Laurel on the Greyhound, Tuesday.
Stella rises abruptly and turns her back. Blanche tries to smile, then she tries to laugh. Then she gives both up and springs from the table and runs into the next room. She clutches her throat. She clutches her throat and then runs into the bathroom. Coughing, gagging sounds are heard.
Didn't need to do that.
Well, don't forget all that I took off of her.
You needn't have been so cruel to someone alone as she is.
Yeah, delicate piece that she is.
She is. She was. You didn't know Blanche as a girl. Nobody was tender and trusting as she was. But people like you abused her and forced her to change. Do you think you're going bowling now?
Yeah, sure.
You're not going bowling. Why did you do this to her?
I done nothing to no one. Let go of my shirt. You torn it.
I want to know why. Tell me why.
When we first met, me and you thought I was common. How right you was, baby. I was common as dirt. You showed me the snapshot of that place with the columns. Well, I pulled you down off the columns. Oh, and how you loved it, huh? Having them colored lights going on. Oh, we was happy together. Huh? Wasn't we okay? Until she showed here.
Stella makes a slight movement.
Wasn't we happy together? Wasn't it all okay? Till she come here, hoity-toity, describing me as an ape. Hey, what is it, Stella?
Take me to the hospital.
He is with her now, supporting her with his arm, murmuring indistinguishably as they go outside. Scene 9. A while later that evening, Blanche is seated in a tense, hunched position in a bedroom chair that she has recovered with diagnosed green and white stripes. She has on her scarlet satin robe. On the table beside chair is a bottle of liquor and a glass. The rapid, feverish polka tune, the Varsufla, is heard. The music is in her mind. She is drinking to escape it, with the sense of disaster closing in on her, and she seems to whisper the words of the song. An electric fan is turning back and forth across her. Mitch comes around the corner in work clothes, blue denim shirt and pants. He is unshaven, climbs the steps to the door and rings. Blanche is startled.
Who is it, please?
It's me, Mitch.
Just a minute.
She rushes about frantically, hiding the bottle in a closet, crouching at the mirror and dabbing her face with cologne and powder. At last, she rushes to the door in the kitchen and lets him in.
Mitch, you know, I really shouldn't let you in after the treatment I have received from you this evening. So utterly uncavalier. But hello, beautiful. Why? Oh, what a cold shoulder. And such uncouth apparel. Why, you haven't even shaved. Unforgivable insults to a lady, but I forgive you. I forgive you because it's such a relief to see you. You stopped that polka tune that I had caught in my head. Have you ever had anything caught in your head? No. Of course you haven't, you dumb angel puss. You never get anything awful caught in your head.
He stares at her while she follows him while she talks. It is obvious that he has had a few drinks on the way over.
You have to have that fan on.
No,
I don't like fans.
then let's turn it off, honey. I'm not partial to them.
She presses the switch and the fan nods slowly off. She clears her throat uneasily as Mitch plumps himself down on the bed in the bedroom and lights a cigarette.
I don't know what there is to drink. I haven't investigated.
I don't want Stan's liquor.
It isn't Stan's. Everything here isn't Stan's. Some things on the premises are actually mine. How's your mother? Isn't your mother well?
Why?
Something's the matter tonight. But never mind, I won't cross-examine the witness. I'll just
The
pretend.
polka tune starts up.
Oh, I don't notice anything different about you. The music again.
What music?
Vasaviana. Oh, the polka tune they were playing when Alan. Wait.
You boxed out of your mind?
And now the shot. It always stops after that. Now it stopped. I'll go and see what I can find in the way of... Oh, by the way, excuse me for not being dressed, but I'd practically given you up. Had you forgotten your invitation to supper?
Wasn't going to see you anymore.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I can't hear what you're saying. And you talk so little that when you do say something, I don't want to miss a single syllable of it. What am I looking around here for? Oh, yes, liquor. We've had so much excitement around here this evening that I am boxed out of my mind. Oh, here's some Southern Comfort. What is that? I wonder.
Don't know. It must belong to Stan.
Take your foot off the bed. It has a light cover on it. Of course, your boys don't notice anything like that. I've done so much with this place since I've been here.
I bet you have.
You saw it before I came. Well, look at it now. This room is almost dainty. I want to keep it that way. I wonder if this stuff ought to be mixed with something sweet. Oh, well. Oh, it's sweet. It's terribly sweet. What? Why, it's a liquor, I believe. Yes, that's what it is, a liquor. I'm afraid you won't like it, but try it, and maybe you will.
Told you already, I don't want none of his liquor, and I mean it. You gotta lay off the liquor. He says you've been lapping it up all summer like a wildcat.
What a fantastic statement. Fantastic of him to say it. Fantastic of you to repeat it. I won't descend to the level of such cheap accusations to answer them even.
Huh?
What's in your mind? I see something in your eyes.
It's dark in here.
I like it dark. The dark is comforting to me.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen you in the light. That's a fact.
Is it?
I've never seen you in the afternoon.
Well, whose fault is that?
You never want to go out in the afternoon.
Well, Mitch, you are at the plant in the afternoon.
Not Sunday afternoon. I've asked you to go out with me sometimes on Sundays, but you always make an excuse. You never want to go out until after 6. And even then, it's always someplace that's not lighted much.
There is some obscure meaning in this, but I failed to catch it.
What it means is that I never had a real good look at you, Blanche. Let's turn the light on here.
Light? What light? What for?
This one. With the paper thing on it.
What did you do that for?
So I can look at you good and plain.
Of course you don't. You don't really mean to mean something.
No. Just realistic.
I don't want realism. I want magic. Yes, magic. I try to give that to people. I misrepresent things to them. I don't tell the truth. I tell what ought to be true. And if that is sinful, then let me be damned for it. Don't turn the light on.
Mitch crosses to the switch. He turns the light on and stares at her. She cries out and covers her face. He turns the light off again.
I don't mind you being older than what I thought. The rest of it? Christ, the pitch about your ideals belong so old-fashioned, being so old-fashioned on all that malarkey that you dished out all summer. Oh, and I knew you weren't 16 anymore. But I was a fool enough to believe he was straight.
And who told you I wasn't straight? My loving brother-in-law. And you believed him.
Called him a liar at first. And then I checked on the story. First, I asked our supply man who travels through Laurel. And then I talked directly over long distance to this merchant.
And who is this merchant?
Pfeifer.
The merchant Pfeifer of Laurel. Yeah, I know the man. He whistled at me. I put him in his place. So now for revenge, he makes up stories about me.
3 people. Pfeifer, Stanley, and Shaw swore to them.
Rub-a-dub-dub, 3 men in a tub. In such a filthy tub.
Didn't you stay at a hotel called Flamingo?
Flamingo? No, Tarantula was the name of it. I stayed in a hotel called the Tarantula Arms.
Tarantula?
Yes, a big spider. That's where I brought my victims. Yes. I had many intimacies with strangers. After the death of Alan, intimacies with strangers was all I seemed able to fill my empty heart with. I think it was panic. Just panic that drove me from one to another, hunting for some protection here and there in the most unlikely places. Even at last in a 17-year-old boy. But somebody wrote the superintendent about it. This woman is morally unfit for her position. This woman is morally unfit for her position. True? Yes, I suppose. Unfit somehow, anyway. So I came here. There was nowhere else I could go. I was played out. You know what played out is. My youth was suddenly got up the water spout and I met you. You said you needed somebody. Well, I needed somebody too. I thanked God for you because you seemed to be gentle, a cleft in the rock of the world that I could hide in. But I guess I was asking, hoping too much. key fiber Stanley and Shaw have tied an old tin can to the tail of the kite.
Lies, lies, inside and out, lies, Blanche. You lied to me.
Don't say I lied to you. Never inside. I didn't lie in my heart.
A vendor comes around the corner. She is a blind woman in a dark shawl carrying bunches of those gaudy tin flowers at funerals and other festive occasions.
Flores, flores para los muertos, flores.
What? Oh, somebody outside it.
Flores, flores para los muertos, flores.
No.
Flores, flores para los muertos. Corones para los muertos, corones para los muertos, corones.
Rumble and pain, regrets. Done this, it wouldn't have cost me that. Legacies. Things such as blood stain, pillow slips, and linen changing. Well, couldn't we get a colored girl to tell it? No, we couldn't. Of course, everything gone, but the deaths. I used to sit here and she used to sit over there. It's as close as you are. We didn't dare even admit we'd ever heard of it. The opposite is desire. So do you wonder? How could you possibly wonder? Not far from Bellerive, before we lost Bellerive, was a camp where they trained young soldiers. On Saturday nights, they would go in town to get drunk. On the way back, they would stagger onto my lawn and call, Blanche, Blanche. The deaf old lady remaining suspected nothing, but once I slipped outside to answer their calls. Later, the paddy wagon would gather them up like daisies. A long way home.
The woman turns slowly and drifts back off with her soft, mournful cries. Blanche goes to the dresser and leans forward on it. After a moment, Mitch rises and follows her purposefully. The polka music fades away. He places his hands on her waist and tries to turn her about.
What do you want?
What I've been missing all summer.
Then marry me, Mitch.
I don't want to marry you anymore, Blanche.
No.
You're not clean enough to bring the house with my mother.
Go away then. Get out of here quick before I start screaming fire. Get out of here quick before I start screaming fire.
He still remains staring. She suddenly rushes to the big window with its pale blue square of the soft summer light and cries wildly.
Fire! Fire! Fire!
Mitch turns and goes out the outer door, clatters awkwardly down the steps and around the corner of the building. Blanche staggers back from the window and falls to her knees. Scene 10. It is a few hours later that night. Blanche has been drinking fairly steadily since Mitch left. She has dragged her wardrobe trunk into the center of the bedroom. It hangs open with flowery dresses thrown across it. As the drinking and packing went on, a mood of hysterical exhilaration came into her, and she has decked herself out in a somewhat soiled and crumpled white satin evening gown and a pair of scuffed silver slippers with brilliants set in their heels. Now she is placing the rhinestone tiara on her head before the mirror of the dressing table and murmuring excitedly as if to a group of spectral admirers.
How about taking a swim? A moonlight swim at the old rock quarry. If anyone's sober enough to drive a car, that's when the world will stop your head buzzing. Only you've got to be careful to dive where the deep pool is. If you hit a rock, you don't come up until tomorrow.
Stanley appears around the corner of the building. He still has on the vivid green silk bowling shirt. As he rounds the corner, the honky-tonk music is heard. It continues softly through the scene. He enters the kitchen, slamming the door. As he peers in at Blanche, he gives a low whistle. He has had a few drinks on the way and has brought some quart beer bottles home with him.
How's my sister? How is my sister?
She is doing okay.
How is the baby?
Oh, the baby won't come home before morning, so they told me to come home and do a shut-eye.
Does that mean we're to be alone in here?
Yep. Just you and me, Blanche. Unless you got somebody hid under the bed. What you got those fine feathers on for?
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
You left before my wire came.
Oh, you got a wire.
I received a telegram from an old admirer.
Anything good?
I think so. An invitation.
Oh, where to? A fireman's ball?
A cruise of the Caribbean on a yacht.
Well, what do you know?
I've never been so surprised in my life.
I guess not.
It came like a bolt from the blue.
Who'd you say it was from again?
An old beau,
Oh, the one that gave you the white fox pieces.
Mr. Shep Huntley. I was Ethiopian in my last year at college. I hadn't seen him until last Christmas. I ran into him on Biscayne Boulevard. And well, just now, this wire invited me on a cruise of the Caribbean. The problem is closed. I'm into my trunk to see what I have that's suitable for the tropics.
And came up with that gorgeous diamond tiara.
It's no relic. It's only rhinestone.
Oh gosh, I thought it was Tiffany diamonds.
Well, anyhow, I shall be entertained in style.
Oh, it goes to show, you never know what is coming.
Just when I thought my luck had begun to fail me.
Yeah, into the picture pops this Miami. Hey.
This man is not from Miami. This man is from Dallas.
Oh, this man is from Dallas.
Yes, this man is from Dallas. Well, go out of the ground.
Yeah, well, just so he's from somewhere, right?
Well, close the curtains before you undress any further.
Oh, this is all I'm going to address right now. Yeah. You seen a bottle opener?
She slowly moves toward the dresser where she stands with her hands knotted together.
I used to have a cousin who could open a beer bottle with his teeth. That was his only accomplishment. All he could do was just be a human bottle opener. And then one time, at a wedding party, he broke his front teeth off. And he was so ashamed of himself that he used to sneak out of the house when the company came. Rain from heaven! Hey, shall we bury the hatchet and make it a loving cup?
Thank you.
Well, it's a red letter night for us both. I mean, you having a oil millionaire and me having a baby.
He goes to the bureau in the bedroom and crouches to remove something from the bottom drawer.
What are you doing in here?
Oh, well, here's something I always break out on my special occasions, just like this. The silk pajamas I wore on my wedding night.
Oh,
Yeah. When the telephone rings and they say you got a son, I will tear this off and wear it like a white flag. Woo! I guess we're both entitled to put on the dog tonight.
He goes back to the kitchen with the coat over his arm.
When I think about how to...
when I think how divine it is to have such a thing as privacy once more, I could weep with joy.
Yeah. Well, that millionaire from Dallas isn't going to interfere with your privacy any?
It won't be the sort of thing you have in mind. Man is a gentleman and he respects me. Well, what he wants is my companionship. Having great wealth sometimes makes people lonely. A cultivated woman, a woman of intelligence and breeding can enrich a man's life immeasurably. I have those things to offer, and this doesn't take them away. Physical beauty is passive and a transitory possession, but beauty of the mind and richness of the spirit and tenderness of the heart. I have all of those things taken away, but grow, increase with the years. How strange that I should be called a destitute woman when I have all of these treasures locked in my heart. I think of myself as a very, very rich woman, but I've been foolish, casting my pearls before swine.
Swine, huh?
Yes, swine. And I'm thinking not only of you, but of your friend, Mr. Mitchell. He came to see me tonight. He dared come in here in his work clothes to repeat slander to me, vicious stories that he had gotten from you. Gave him his walking paper.
You did, huh?
But then he came back. He returned with a box of roses to beg my forgiveness. He implored my forgiveness. But some things are not forgivable. Deliberate cruelty is not forgivable. It's the one unforgivable thing, in my opinion, and it is the one thing of which I have never been guilty. And so I told him, I can take you, but it was foolish of me to think that we could ever adapt ourselves to each other. Our ways of life are too different. Our attitudes and our backgrounds are incompatible. We have to be realistic about such things. So farewell, my friend, and let there be no hard feelings.
Was this before or after the telegram came from the Texas oil millionaire?
What telegram? No, after. As a matter of fact, the wire came just...
As a matter of fact, there was no wire at all.
Oh.
There isn't no millionaire. And Mitch didn't come back with roses because I know where he is.
Oh.
There isn't a goddamn thing but imagination and lies and conceit and tricks. And look at yourself. I mean, take a look at yourself in that worn-out Marty outfit rented for 50 cents from some rag picker, and with that crazy crown on. What queen do you think you are?
Oh, God.
I've been on to you from the start. Not once did you pull any wool over this boy's eyes. You come in here and you sprinkle the place with powder and spray perfume, and you cover the light bulb with a paper lantern, and behold, the place has turned into Egypt, and you are queen of the Nile, sitting on your throne and swilling down my liquor. Well, ha 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 ha, I say, do you hear me? Ha 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 ha.
No,
He walks into the bedroom. Lurid reflections appear on the wall around Blanche. The shadows are of a grotesque and menacing form.
Operator, give me long distance, please. I want to get in touch with Mr. Shepherdly of Dallas. He's so well known. Doesn't require any address. Just ask anybody who. Wait. No. Oh, no, I couldn't find it right now. Please understand. No, wait. One moment. Hold on, please.
She sets the phone down and crosses warily into the kitchen. The night is filled with inhumane voices like cries in a jungle. The shadows and lurid reflections move sinuously as flames along the wall spaces. Through the back wall of the rooms, which have become transparent, can be seen the sidewalk. A prostitute has rolled a drunkard. He pursues her along the walk, overtakes her, and there is a struggle. A policeman's whistle breaks it up. The figures disappear. Some moments later, the woman appears around the corner with a sequined bag which the prostitute had dropped on the walk. She is rooting excitedly through it. Blanche presses her knuckles to her lips and returns slowly to the phone.
Operator, never mind, Lord. This is Western Union. There is a time to be Western Union. Western Union? Yes, I want to take down this message. Desperate circumstances. Help me. Concentrate.
The bathroom door is thrown open and Stanley comes out in the brilliant silk pajamas. He grins at her as he knots the tasseled sash around his waist. She gasps and backs away from the phone. He stares at her for a count of 10, and a clicking becomes audible from the telephone, steady and rasping.
You left the phone off the hook.
He crosses to it deliberately and sets it back on the hook. After he has replaced it, he stares at her again, his mouth slowly curving into a grin as he weaves between Blanche and the outer door. The roar of an approaching locomotive. Blanche crouches, pressing her fists to her ears until it has gone by.
Let me get by you.
Sure. Go ahead.
You stand over there.
You got plenty of room to walk by me now.
Not with you there. I've got to get out somehow.
You think I'll interfere with you?
She turns confusedly and makes a faint gesture. The inhumane jungle voices rise up. He takes a step toward her, biting his tongue, which protrudes between his lips.
Come to think of it, maybe you wouldn't be too bad to interfere with.
Back.
When?
Don't you give me another step or
what?
Some awful thing will happen. It will.
Oh, what are you putting on now?
When you don't, I'm in danger.
Oh, well, what did you do that for?
So I can twist the broken end in your face.
Oh, I bet you would do that.
I
will. Whoa, you want some rough house? All right. Let's have some rough house. Oh, tiger! Oh, drop the bottle, drop it. We've had this date from each other for the beginning.
He picks up her inert figure and carries her to the bed. Scene 11. It is some weeks later. Stella is packing Blanche's things. Stanley, Steve, Mitch, and Pablo, who sit around the table in the kitchen. The atmosphere of the kitchen is now the same raw, lurid one of the disastrous poker night. Eunice comes down the steps from her flat above and enters the kitchen. There is an outburst from the poker table.
I drew an inside straight and made it, by God.
Maldita sea tu suerte.
Put in English grease ball.
I'm cursing your rutting luck.
You know what luck is? Luck is believing you're lucky. Take it, Salerno. I believed I was lucky, right? I figured that 4 out of 5 would not come through, but I would, and I did. I put that down as a rule. The whole front position in this rat race, you gotta believe that you are lucky.
You. Brag, bull.
What's the matter with him?
I always did say that men are callous things with no feelings, but this does beat anything. Making pigs of yourselves.
What's the matter with her?
How's my baby?
Sleeping like a little angel. I brought some grapes for you. Blanche,
Bathing.
how is she?
She wouldn't eat anything but asked for a drink.
What did you tell her?
I just told her that we'd made arrangements for her to rest in the country. She's got it mixed in her mind with Shep Huntley.
Yeah.
Yes, Blanche?
If anyone calls while I'm bathing, take the number and tell them I'll call right back.
Yes.
The cool yellow silk, the boucle, too crushed. If it's not too crushed, I'll wear it. And on the lapel, that silver and turquoise pin in the shape of a seahorse. You will find them in the heart-shaped box I keep my accessories in. And try and locate a bunch of artificial violets in that box, too, to pin with the seahorse on the lapel of the jacket.
I don't know if I did the right thing.
What else could you do?
I couldn't believe her story and go on living with Stanley.
Don't ever believe it. Life has got to go on. No matter what happens, you've got to keep on going.
The bathroom door opens a little.
Is the coast clear?
Yes, Blanche. Tell her how well she's looking.
Please close the curtains before I come out.
They're closed.
How many for you, Pablo?
Oh,
3.
Blanche appears in the amber light of the door. She has a tragic radiance in her red satin robe following the sculptural lines of her body. The Vesuvian rises up audibly as Blanche enters the bedroom.
I just washed my hair.
Did you?
I'm not sure I got the soap in.
Such fine hair.
It's a problem. Might get a call.
Who from, Blanche?
Shep Huntley.
Why, not yet, honey.
That's strange.
At the sound of Blanche's voice, Mitch's arm supporting his cards has sagged and his gaze is dissolved into space. Stanley slaps him on the shoulder.
Hey, Mitch, come to!
The sound of this new voice shocks Blanche. She makes a shocked gesture, forming his name with her lips. Stella nods and looks quietly away. Blanche stands quite still for some moments, a silver-backed mirror in her hand, and a look of sorrowful perplexity, as though all human experience shows on her face. Blanche finally speaks, but with sudden hysteria.
What's going on here?
She turns from Stella to Eunice and back to Stella. Mitch ducks his head lower, but Stanley shoves back his chair as if about to rise. Steve places a restraining hand on his arm.
What's happened here? I want an explanation of what's happened here.
Hush, hush.
Hush, hush, honey.
Please, Blanche.
Why are you looking at me like that? Is something wrong with...
You look wonderful, Blanche. Don't you look wonderful?
Yes.
I understand you were going on a trip.
Yes. Blanche is. She's going on a vacation.
I'm green with envy.
Help me. Help me get dressed.
Is this what you?
Yes, it will do. I'm anxious to get out of here. This place is a trap.
What a pretty blue jacket.
It's lilac colored.
You're both mistaken. It's a yellow Robia blue. The blue of the robe and the old Madonna pictures. Are these grapes washed?
Huh?
Washed, I said. Are they washed?
They're from the French market.
That doesn't mean they've been washed.
The cathedral bells chime.
Those cathedral bells, they are the only clean thing in the quarter. Well, I'm going now. I'm ready. Go.
She's going to walk out before they get here.
Wait, Blanche.
I don't want to pass in front of those men.
And then wait till the game breaks up.
Sit down.
Blanche turns weakly, hesitantly about. She lets them push her into a chair.
I can smell the sea air. The rest of my time I'm going to spend on the sea. When I die, I'm going to die at the sea. You know what I shall die of? I'll die of eating an unwashed grape one day out on the ocean. I will die with my hand in the hand of some nice-looking a very young one with a small blonde mustache and a big silver watch. Poor lady, they'll say, the quinine did her no good. That unwashed grape has transported her soul to heaven. I'm buried at sea, sewn up in a clean white sack and dropped overboard at noon in the blaze of summer, but in an ocean as blue as my first lover's eyes.
A doctor and a matron have appeared around the corner of the building and climbed the steps to the porch. The doctor rings the doorbell.
That must be them.
What is it?
Excuse me while I see who's at the door.
Yes.
Eunice goes into the kitchen.
Wonder if it's for me.
Someone is calling for Blanche.
It is for me then. Is it the gentleman I was expecting from down?
I think it is, Blanche.
I'm not quite ready.
Ask him to wait outside.
Eunice goes back to the portieres.
Everything packed?
A silver toilet out if those are still out.
Ah.
They're waiting in front of the house.
They? Who's they?
There's a lady with him.
I cannot imagine who this lady could be. How is she dressed?
Just sort of a plain tailored outfit.
Possibly she's...
Should you go, Stella?
Must we go through that room? Can I look?
Lovely.
Blanche moves fearfully to the portiere. Eunice draws them open for her. Blanche goes into the kitchen.
Please don't get up. I'm only passing through.
Stella and Eunice follow. The poker players stand awkwardly at the table, all except Mitch, who remains seated, looking down at the table. Blanche steps out on a small porch at the side of the door. She stops short and catches her breath.
What do you do?
You are not the gentleman I was expecting. This man isn't Chet Huntley.
Stella stares back at Blanche. Eunice is holding Stella's arm. There is a moment of silence. No sound but that of Stanley steadily shuffling the cards. Blanche catches her breath again and slips back into the flat with a peculiar smile, her eyes wide and brilliant. As soon as her sister goes past her, Stella closes her eyes and clenches her hands. Eunice throws her arms comfortingly about her. Then she starts up to her flat. Blanche stops just inside the door. Mitch keeps staring down at his hands on the table, but the other men look at her curiously. At last, she starts around the table toward the bedroom. As she does, Stanley suddenly pushes back his chair and rises as if to block her way. The matron follows her into the flat.
Oh my God.
Yes, I forgot something.
She rushes past him into the bedroom. Blanche seizes the back of a chair as if to defend herself.
Doc, you better go in.
Nurse, bring her out.
The matron advances on one side, Stanley on the other. Divested of all the softer properties of womanhood, the matron is a peculiarly sinister figure in her severe dress. Her voice is bold and toneless as a fireball.
Hello, Blanche.
The greeting is echoed and re-echoed by other mysterious voices behind the walls as if reverberated through a canyon of rock.
She says that she forgot something.
That's all right.
What'd you forget, Blanche?
It doesn't matter. We can pick it up later.
Sure, we can send it along with the trunk.
I don't know you. I don't know you. I want to be left alone, please.
Now, Blanche. Now, Blanche.
All right, now you left nothing here, Blanche, but split talcum and old empty perfume bottles. Well, unless it's the paper lantern you want to take with you. You want the lantern?
He crosses to the dressing table and seizes the paper lantern, tearing it off the light bulb and extends it toward her. She cries out as if the lantern was herself. The matron steps boldly towards her. She screams and tries to break past the matron. All the men spring to their feet. Stella runs out to the porch with Eunice following to comfort her simultaneously with the confused voices of the men in the kitchen. Stella rushes into Eunice's embrace on the porch.
My God. Eunice, help me. Don't let them do that to her. Don't let them hurt her. God, oh, please, God, don't hurt her. What are they doing to her? What are they doing?
No, honey, no, honey. Stay here. Don't go back in there. Stay with me and don't look.
What have I done to my sister? Oh, God, what have I done to my sister?
You done the right thing, the only thing you could do. But she couldn't stay here. There was no other place for her to go.
While Stella and Eunice are speaking on the porch, the voices of the men in the kitchen overlap them. Mitch has started toward the bedroom. Stanley crosses to block him. Stanley pushes him aside. Mitch lunges and strikes at Stanley. Stanley pushes Mitch back. Mitch collapses at the table, sobbing. The matron catches hold of Blanche's arm and prevents her flight. Blanche turns wildly and scratches at the matron.
These fingernails have to be trimmed. Jacket, doctor?
Not unless necessary.
He takes off his hat, and now he becomes personalized. The unhuman quality goes.
Miss DuBois. It won't be necessary.
Let go of me.
Let go.
The matron releases her. Blanche extends her hands toward the doctor. He draws her up gently and supports her with his arm and leads her through the portiere.
Whoever you are, I've always depended on the kindness of strangers.
The poker players stand back as Blanche and the doctor cross the kitchen to the front door. She allows him to lead her as if she were blind. As they go out on the porch, Stella cries out her sister's name from where she is crouched a few steps up on the stairs. Blanche walks on without turning, followed by the doctor and the matron. They go around the corner of the building. Eunice descends to Stella and places the child in her arms. Stella accepts the child sobbingly. Eunice continues downstairs and enters the kitchen where the men, except for Stanley, are returning silently to their places about the table. Stanley has gone out on the porch and stands at the foot of the steps, looking at Stella.
Stella?
She sobs with inhumane abandon. There is something luxurious in her complete surrender to crying now that her sister is gone.
No, honey. No, love. No, no, love. Love. No. No, love, love, no. No, love. Shh. No, love. Love. No, love.
This game is 7 card stud.
Curtain.